Good afternoon and welcome to live coverage of the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. We're here in the Disc Golf Pro Tour studio. I'm Jeff Spring and I'm joined by Nate Doss. Nate, we're getting ready for an action-packed round two. What can we expect to see out there, and how did everything shake out yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was definitely one of those days. You know, it's really 2 rounds crammed into one because we're already in the second round and would be the third round of a 4-round tournament. So these players know that it's go time. Today's moving day, of course, as we know, going into the final round. You know, we saw early on when we first came online, we saw Ricky Wysocki basically just finishing his round, and it was you know, kind of he set the bar. And then as we watched our group, we saw our 2-time defending champion, Jeremy Colling, just kind of say, yeah, Ricky, I'll take that bar and I'll up it. And so that was pretty cool, and I hope we continue to see that today. As we come on the air, I already see Eagle McMahon 4 straight birdies to start. So the Eagle is on the prowl. Paul Macbeth is right there too. So, you know, let's just get these guys off and running. And I mean, we already see that they are ready to get going.
They're on the tee at hole 1, and as we get ready to throw to the first tee at Brazos Park East, the Beast course, what are we thinking about on hole 1 as we take a look at the whole preview?
Well, as don't look at that whole preview on the left there, folks. Just look at your screen. It's 291 feet. It's just basically a nice, soft, cuddly sidearm or a big spike hyzer. The players are trying to avoid going over the sidewalk on the left or leaving it too far out over the right. So it's a tough first hole, and definitely one of those ones where these guys are a little bit clinched up, but they're definitely excited to get out and get rolling.
And we know the winds played a big factor. We saw it in the FPO round earlier this morning, and the winds are up to 15 miles an hour. Is the wind the prevailing wind? Are we going to see any differences from yesterday in terms of the conditions out there?
Well, I know that you and I were just talking right before we came on air, and I was like, I of course was watching everything from this morning, watching the ladies, and the wind was in the exact same direction. So these players should be comfortable. And, you know, the wind, if you look at that flag there, it's really not too bad. So we're seeing gusts of 15. It's 57 degrees, kind of a light little Thule fog haze up in the sky. But other than that, this is go time for these players.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we approach the first tee, another thing to note is that we have a newcomer to a lead card situation, Matt Dollar. Nate Perkins, Big Germ, they battled it out. Ricky's pretty familiar on the lead card situation. What should we expect to see from Dollar today?
You know, Matt Dollar's definitely one of those types of players that just has so many unique different shots. And he'll throw thumbers when you don't expect it. And he's good in the woods. So he comes from that kind of Georgia area, Atlanta area. So it should be a lot of fun to see what he's got going on for sure.
Yeah, and it's a great scene here at the first tee. We've got the whole staff ready to go. We're going to throw it to hole 1 and get this round underway here at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs.
No, I didn't expect that at all.
Signs of a good round.
Yeah, Jeff, I really love this scene right here. I always loved when I tell the players that I'm playing against, you know, let's have a good round, because after that moment, I don't really want them to have such a good round. But, you know, the guys just kind of shaking hands and getting ready to go. So, you know, it is right now. It is exactly 3:30 local time for them, and here's our TD.
This is the 3:30 tee time for the 2019 Waco Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. First, on the tee pad, representing Innova Champion Discs and Grip 6 belts, the 2-time and reigning Waco champion, Jeremy Colling.
and a great intro call for Big Germ Coling, coming off a record-tying 15 down. Let's see if he can get off to a great start, as we know the competitors have in front of him.
Yeah, and that's just nerves right there, Jeff. Really, from all the way back to the final round of last year, Germ's thrown this great shot great, and that was just a little nervy.
A lot of appreciation there for two-time world champ Ricky Wysocki. Let's see if he can put it a little closer off this first tee.
Yeah, I love that line. Wow, Ricky just taking this straight line, not putting OB in play at all.
And you can hear the appreciation for hometown local favorite Nate Perkins. And I love that line too that Ricky took. I think we're going to see a little bit of a different approach here from Nate. He did play the spike yesterday.
Yeah, doing just that, just like he did yesterday, spiking it in there beautifully.
Discs in Georgia Flying Disc Festival, Matt Dollar.
And as we mentioned, a player that we have not seen on this course, it's his first time here in Waco. Matt Dollar, it looks like he is going to his patent thumber. We may see a lot of these today.
Yeah, Matt. Thank you.
And as I said in the opening, you're going to see a lot of that from Matt Dollar today. It's just a fun, different way of playing disc golf. So we'll see if it pays off for him. It did definitely there on the first hole, and the boys are off and running.
We are off and running, and we'll see how Germ recovers from a really off-kilter tee shot. Not what we're used to seeing from Germ here at Waco. Although, of note, he did have a tough start in round 3 when he won it last year. So maybe something similar, seeing a little bit of the nerve, seeing a little bit of the jitters. He's walking up, and he's pretty much out of range here. He may have to just let it be a par here.
Well, and as I said, he's definitely out of range. There's no doubt about that. As I said, going back to that final round and what we saw yesterday, it's, and he gets saved by the wall there, but, he had thrown that shot perfectly. And now we see a little bit of a misstep right off the bat. And, it's one of those things when you have a guy like Ricky Wysocki right there, it's always something that you think about. And so, Ricky's going to definitely continue to put the pressure on. There's no doubt. We saw a post-round interview from Ricky yesterday where he said sidearm was feeling good and his game's tight. So we know how important the sidearm is on this one. And that could prove to be, what maybe, just takes Ricky above and beyond everybody in this one. But, of course, time will only tell.
Yeah, and Ricky has struggled a little over the past year or so, not being able to three-peat after his 2 consecutive world championships. And he's said in part it's because he's lost his touch with that forehand. It's good to see it back rolling. Big putt here, not a long one, but maybe a little nerves. We'll see if he can put it right in the heart.
And I want everybody at home to watch that right hand of Jeremy Collings. And when you start to see that little chicken wing like that, that's when we start to get scared. We saw it a lot last year in the final round. Nice birdie there for Matt Dollar wearing his Atlanta hat, ATL representing here. But, when we see that little chicken wing finish, that shows that Big Germ is nervous. And so we will see how that progresses as we go through.
And already we see a tie atop the leaderboard with Ricky Wysocki cashing in his birdie. Nate's going to cash in to be one back of that, but they're not alone. Paul Ulibarri with a 3-for-3 start, now a 3-way tie at the lead, and we may be in for a day of a really interesting leaderboard. So now we're moving on to course overview, hole 2. Nate, what can we expect?
So 516, definitely we have, we see on the map there lots of OB on the right and left. Really, it's just the pathway that defines this hole. But this is your true park hole here. Par 4. This is a birdie hole for all 4 of our players today. It should be anyways, with a tailwind. And, of course, you know, getting to play that tailwind yesterday. We saw an eagle even on this yesterday from Eric Oakley. So birdie opportunity for our players, and good wind conditions are going to help them do that. So, yeah, there's the look back from the basket there, and you just see a little bit of a baby crosswind. Interesting, the winds don't seem too much of a factor yet at this point. Of course, still early.
Saki looking to miss that first tree, and he does. This is a great line, skipping it up. Let's see if he's clean. He gets a full flight and skip. He's going to like where that lands.
Yeah, for our fans at home, you're going to see if that's really the area that a good shot lands. It's up there on that left side. Again, we saw Eric Oakley make a putt from over there yesterday for 2.
Nate Perkins with the backhand, a very similar line. Let's see if he can stay clean. Nate's interview before the round noting how his progress with his backhand has enabled him to succeed at a higher level. And no thumber here. Matt Dollar taking a wider route. It's hanging out straight. Eyes ring back. He's asking for it to skip back in, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't anywhere near the OB. It's funny, we don't see the players going on that little bit of wider route, but I think they're just trying to get that power skip down towards the basket for that eagle opportunity.
And Jerem taking the wide route as well, but it's going to work as he takes it down the right-hand side, skips back to the middle, and that's got some D. And we're off the tee here on hole 2. Our players are headed towards their discs after all finding fairly successful drives. And we're going to head to commercial here as they walk up for their second shots. We saw some scenes there of the players meeting, and here we are approaching the drives on hole 2. It is a par 4, as Nate mentioned, 516 feet, not too far out of the range. I would expect from these drives for these players to be able to clean this hole up, and we might see a star frame with all birdies if they're able to execute.
Yeah, definitely at this point, Jeff, if we didn't see a star frame, one of these players would be making a huge misstep. These are shot. This is just throwing it to your buddy. I mean, that's all it really is right now. Just toss it up there to your buddy and skip it in close. So I would definitely expect to see 4 birdies here and maybe an eagle, outside chance, but it seems just like 4 birdies is what we're looking at.
We see Nate Perkins swinging it out wide right, working it back in and getting the skip and curl next to the basket.
Can't hear you, Ryan.
Matt Dollar is next up. He took his wide, but as we can see, that's a great route to the basket as well. Most of the shots throughout the tournament have been going up on that left side where we see Ricky, and here's Dollar taking aim at the basket. It looks good. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah, looked good from our angle. And you see that logo on the top of that flag there. That's indicating the Waco Suspension Bridge, originally opened in 1870. So a nice little piece of history there with I believe that's the club logo of the Waco Disc Golf Club. So kind of cool to see that. And I mean, could it be any more beautiful right now?
It's a nice day out, and the artistic flag just adds to that beauty, Nate. As you mentioned, we saw Ricky get his approach right inside of the bullseye there, and Germ as well. So we have the basket surrounded as our competitors head up to tap in what looks to be a star frame of 4 birdies. And so far we're 7 for 8 through the first 2 holes, Nate. Pretty expected. These first 3 holes are open park-like golf. Don't have a ton of challenge other than just the players getting off, getting the nerves in check and getting into the second round at a big event.
Yeah, there's no doubt, Jeff. And, you know, really, we saw that sort of, wow, and that just caught the back right corner. I don't know how Ricky feels about that one. At least it's in. But, you know, we just saw that kind of sketchy play from Jeremy on the first hole. He played this hole beautifully. In fact, he played the best of the group. So, you know, sometimes you just got to get through those first couple of holes, but we'll keep an eye on that, of course.
Yep, and the upshots are important. Seemingly simple plays in the FPO coverage this morning turned into some missed strokes, some missed opportunities. We had the real importance of those upshots brought into focus, and we'll keep an eye on that as we move to hole 3. We're going to take a peek at the course overview. Nate, what do we got here?
Well, I heard you guys talk about it this morning. 294 feet, options on the left and the right. No OB to speak of. You have that sidearm route up the left there. You have a straight, and you have a little bit of a hyzer. I call it a slight Redan style hole. It does come up just a little bit. And true Redan would actually slope completely away from our players. But with that quick green, the players are going to try to land maybe just right at the edge of the circle and skip it right up and in. But birdie opportunities for all these players. And it must be mentioned that Seppo Paiu is 8 down through 9 holes, and Paul McBeth 4 under through 4, Eagle McMahon 5 through 6. So I think we're going to see a lot of birdies.
And Ricky, our co-leader on the tee, taking it very wide and skipping it dramatically back in. It looks like with a Sexton Firebird, it continues to roll, settling inside the circle. He's going to actually now have a headwind putt as the tailwind is at their back, and he went long.
Well, he completely yanked that. Actually, he's probably feeling fairly fortunate that it got all the way through, although there is a route over there. So good, you know, good for Ricky, of course. But, yeah, just a little bit of a yank on that sidearm.
Nate Perkins taking a similar route, but a little bit more inside, and it's too low. And the skip did not work as effectively as it did for Wysocki, leaving him outside the circle too. A mistake there for Perkins early on. And back to an overhand shot from Matt Dollar. Rounding out our lead card, here's Big Germ with the forehand, taking it wide.
Oh, no.
So no backhands, Nate.
Yeah, really not surprising from this group. Obviously, you know, we know that, you know, Dollar would be maybe the only one we'd see that from really at all. So, you know, interesting.
Yeah, 3 strong forehand players. And looks like we have a decent-sized crowd forming here following our lead card as they approach the 3rd green. Big Germ is first to play, being furthest away, having a little bit of trouble off the tee. Just trying to nestle this under that elevated basket and leave himself with 0 work to do. He does just that. He could probably dunk it from there. He has very long arms. And boy, Ricky must be feeling good about this start overall. We've already seen Nate and Germ run into a little bit of issues, and they were both on the feature card yesterday. Ricky was kind of the leader in the clubhouse, and he's right back at it. As we see Matt Dollar approach, and he's put himself with a tap in as well. This is an interesting play. I would not be surprised to see Nate Perkins put a full run on this. But he just nestles it up, playing it safe here. And now we're going to come to the one competitor on our lead card with a birdie putt, and that's Ricky Wysocki. It's a headwind putt. Ricky is well known for his putting prowess. Early on here in the event, we're going to see how hot his putter is. with a headwind putt on an elevated basket.
Copy you.
And the crowd appreciates a nice stroke from Ricky. And he's all alone in the lead at 17 down. As our competitors clean up their par tap-ins, we're going to head to hole 4 and take a peek at the hole preview for the next hole at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. Nate, what do we got?
Yeah, here we are, hole 4, 441 feet. Yeah, we do head into the woods now at this point, and it's really a big S. You have to play into this area off the tee if you want any chance of reaching the basket on your second shot. And once you get up to the basket, kind of a tricky little green with things sort of flowing away from the basket behind directly to the Brazos River. So, you know, there we go. There's the woods right there, huh?
Yeah, and we can see how thick it is in these woods. It does change the tenor of the play, going from the park setting into the woods. And we've seen it affect the groups a little bit more coming out of the woods. The wind isn't quite as significant in here. We got a little bit of a wind shield with the foliage. And the big test has been, as we saw this morning on the FPO coverage, what are the players going to do when they're dealing with the wind coming out of the woods? So I expect them to not miss a beat here.
Yeah, I mean, we go into the woods now for 9 holes. And so that's sort of the big, like you said, I mean, these guys are now going into woods mode, and we'll see if they can come out of woods mode when we do come back out. But this is really where the tournament is almost won and lost in a long way, or in a lot of ways, is in these wooded holes.
I can't think.
A lot of these holes are moving from left to right. On the tee, not so much here. We're going right to left, but on their second shot, it's going left to right. Again, as we've said many times, favoring that player that's either a lefty or a forehand player. So is it that surprising that Ricky has one of the best forehands in the world? Germ, same thing. Nate Perkins, forehand dominant. And then Matt Dollar, which is just a wild card, really, with the overhand play. I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah, we're definitely going to, see a lot of different shots from Matt Dollar, and Ricky putting it up there and just rolling it perfectly. That is the zone that he's going to have that opportunity to go for that basket now.
Great reaction on the ground there. Side of this fairway, as it approaches the woods, really banks on that left side and allows it to roll back into the center. Ricky knowing exactly how is this going to react and throwing a very, very controlled mid-range just inside that tree. Let's see if Nate can replicate that. A little bit more power than Wysocki, and he's in an even better position to attack for birdie. Birdies are what you want out here. They're actually probably at a higher premium than pars, as we're seeing very low scores, 15, 14, 13 downs yesterday. People getting off to 8 for 9 starts, 4 for 4 starts. Looks like Matt Dollar, his drive got a little caught up on that right side. He's not in too much trouble, but he's not in a prime position for birdie. Germ on the tee, looking to get back on track on hole 4. Diving to the left. Will it come back? And we're off the tee. All of our players with decent to good tee shots on hole 4, and we'll see how they attack the green here. With Ricky Wysocki in sole possession of the lead, leading the way. We're going to throw it to commercial here, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Dollar with one of his patented thumbers. And he's not going to be in position for a birdie. He was sitting pretty far back there in the fairway, Nate, so he's just trying to get up and in for par from his second shot.
Yeah, I mean, when you're left this far back, it's definitely one of those things where, you know, you just are in the position where you kind of are playing this hole for par. You know, and as I said in the opening, you really have to be right where Ricky is or a little bit further up from this point to really have an opportunity to go at this green in two. And this hole has just typically played very difficult for these players. This is one of the more difficult holes on the course for sure.
Yeah, and there is a hazard just past the pin here. So let's just be aware as Ricky tries to get a little bit aggressive with a forehand. He's going to be skipping one into the pin. Can he get a clean line, and can he stop the disc before the Brazos River behind the basket?
Ooh, what a great little kick for him. And look at that. Parked.
We knew he was going to be skipping in hot. He got a little tree love. It's right next to the basket. Ricky Wysocki looking like he's got a tap in to go 4 for 4. Great start for Rick.
No doubt. That's a for sure 4 for 4. And yeah, it is just an awesome start for Ricky Wysocki.
He's now 18 for 22 for the tournament, which is pretty impressive as we get a peek at Big Germ. He's in the shul looking to punch out. He may be lining up a roller with the angle of the disc that I'm seeing now.
Stop. Thank you.
And it was a roller, but it did not cut, and he got caught up on the other side. It looks like he should have no trouble from there. It's not too far away, but he does need to make a good upshot to put himself in position for an easy par.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's just trying to recover enough so that he can get up there for par position. And, you know, when you have the leader of the tournament, you know, parked for another birdie, it's so difficult to try to just take your medicine. But Germ comes from North Carolina, so he's used to that. You know, a lot of wooded courses out that way.
Yeah, and here's our hometown favorite from Texas, Nate Perkins, taking the inside line. It's coming in hot. It's got to sit. It's rolling, and it is wet down into the Brazos River, a testy slope behind the basket, sending his disc into the drink. Unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. And, you know, it's one of those things where we had a really great camera view from that angle, and he was completely wide open to the basket. And really everything on these holes, and we'll see it throughout the whole day, is the angle that you have. He had such a pure line that he just had too much heat on it, and he probably has maybe never even been there in any of his practice rounds.
Yeah, he was all the way up the fairway, probably just a little over 100 feet away, and it looked like he had a driver with that kind of skip instead of maybe a mid-range or a putter. Disc selection is important here on these upshots. We saw Katrina Allen make a gaff that didn't end up in the river, but did end up costing her a stroke. It's going to be a tough comeback par putt, but an important one for Nate.
Yeah, and we saw the speed of Nate's disc coming through. It looked like a mid, fairway driver or something like that. But you can see Germ's got a putter there. I know Ricky threw a mid-range, so again, using speed to their advantage is something that's highly, highly important. And we see Matt Dollar here now just playing a little bit of Plinko, going from the right side now into the left side. But again, he does come from Georgia, as you can see his ATL hat there. And there's a lot of this when you play down in Georgia, a lot of just playing out of the woods and trying to make it work. So Matt should be, I'm not going to say he's comfortable with this shot, but he's comfortable with, trying to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And no stranger to that type of golf. This one is putting him in position to have a look at this for par. But we're seeing a little bit of struggles, and I say struggles even though we're seeing pars, because birdie is the word of the day here. We already see Paul Macbeth, and he has now gone 6 for 6 to start, and he's climbed up 1 away from the lead. Somebody who, going on to 18, we didn't even know if he's going to be on the top 10, and already today making a huge move.
Yeah, no doubtably. And now the players coming up to the green, and of course now Nate Perkins is going to see that his disc did go in the water. At this point he'll still have a putt for par, but it's circle's edge, circle one. And doesn't this remind you a little bit of last year? Paul McBeth, second round. He's 6 for 6. Let's see if he gets that eagle and goes 10 for 9.
10 for 9, yeah. It is reminding us a lot here of last year. We still have our two leaders who are tied for the lead, went into a playoff last year. Of course, Nate facing a little adversity here, trying to get his mark. Let's listen in here.
I think I can get a putt right there.
Yeah, I think that's about a meter.
This is a great look as Nate Perkins tries to save his par.
Did you see how smooth the cameraman moved in there? That was great. Come on, Nate.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
What a putt.
Fist pump,
Fist
high
bump.
five.
Good
There
high
you
fives
go,
in
Nate
studio
Perkins, man.
here.
That was awesome.
And that steely focus is there. Nate has a one-track mind sometimes, and he can get zoned in here. And that's good to see. After a mistake like that, for him to recover, it's a good sign.
Yeah, one thing that I really will say about Dollar is that sometimes Matt can be a little, with the cameras, it's just kind of like a little bit much for him. And we see that from John McRae. We see that from some of our players from time to time. But he needs to just stay focused on the task at hand. You can see him just trying to figure out what the wind's going to do. A little bit of a downward push, and that's something you can happen in the woods. You kind of get these winds that come down through the woods and then out over the river. So he's just trying to figure out what the wind is doing to try to make the adjustment.
And off the rim, up and out. Not quite able to save his par there as we watch Big Germ tap in his par. And we've only seen one birdie on this challenging par 4. First in the woods. As players clean up here, Nate.
Well, yeah, and the birdie came from the leader of the tournament. So that's always something that these players will be looking at for sure, is that Ricky is feeling good.
And let's take a peek at our next hole, hole 5. Throwing it to the hole preview.
Yeah, and here we are, hole 5. We call it the tier hole. Comes up right here. You're going to see that first bit of brown patch. That's the first walk up. There's tier number 1, and now you start to see the basket there. Really no OBs, nothing to think about here. Just trying to get it up onto the upper level, and it comes to a really nice flat plateau. And so, yeah, there it is. That's a beautiful look. You can see the tee way back down there with the tent. Birdie opportunity for sure at just 264 feet, but got to get it up to that upper level.
Yeah, absolutely. And there may be something to be said about playing on this lead card with the cameras, Nate. We're seeing a lot of the chase cards, the third card really scoring hot. But this card getting off to a slow start. We'll see if this hole can help them settle in a par 3 where maybe it's a little bit more comfortable uphill. Are they pulling out mid-ranges, fairway drivers here? Or what do you think the play is for most of these?
Yeah, it's definitely a mid-range. I can't say exactly. That looks like a rock to me. Probably definitely a DX rock for Ricky, and just controlling it perfectly. That's going to be a birdie for Ricky. So yeah, just a nice little smooth mid-range up the tiers there, and Ricky doing that with no problem at all.
And Rick has some really nice relaxed body language. We can see him be tense, maybe a little edgy at times, but he seems a little zoned in. More than I've seen him so far this year. Maybe he's feeling a little bit more comfortable with his discs. Maybe he likes Texas. We know he's won Texas States, and another tournament in Texas is coming up. But he seems to be like really getting into the season as we see Nate off the tee.
Yeah, Nate, you saw us just peek up over that second tier. He is inside the circle at that point. And here we go, the 2-time champion. This is where Big Germ, even though he's just in second place, a guy like Ricky's already 4 under. He's just 1 under. So, this is where he needs to really step up, and he's going to trust that sidearm a lot in the woods, just skipping away, but that's a birdie putt as well.
Yeah, Germ with a nice forehand, losing it a little right, giving him a bit of a tester, but should be able to clean it up no problem as Matt Dollar going to the backhand. He's a little further away than Germ. It looked like he lost that a little further right. That turnover never getting stable and coming back. But all of our competitors are in position for birdie putts here at the 5th, 264 feet uphill. Let's throw it over to a brief break as our competitors walk up the hill and get ready for their birdie putts. Clearing, so they give Matt Dollar plenty of room for his birdie putt here as we can see him heading over to his disc. It looks like he did get through up onto the top tier, but he pulled it right, and he's going to have to deal with an obstructed putt. Let's see if he's got a line to the basket. If he's got a good luck, he'll really want to take advantage of this after missing his par putt on the last hole. Going to a knee, Nate.
Yeah, again, Matt Dollar's going to be very familiar with dealing with these types of looks, but you can see it's just uncomfortable enough for him. It's perfect view of what he's thinking right now. You can just be like, God, I just want that open view because I just want to make this birdie so bad. He's going to have to do something.
Oh, instead of low, this time a little high. He's right on the basket for his par. But he's going to want to get back on track. Right now he's only one down on the day. Same with Big Germ, who's looking at a much less obstructed putt. This is a big one for Germ. You need to get back on track here.
Yeah, just he's kind of waiting. I'm sure there's people settling down behind the basket at this point, but watch that right hand of Big Germ's. Yesterday we saw it finish strong at every putt. He made a lot of great putts yesterday. It was just about finishing strong with that hand, but just keep an eye on that right hand as it releases the disc. How does it react? Yeah, and I hate to say I know Big Germ that well, but you see the foot now coming into play as well. The hand and the foot. That's not a good sign for Big Germ. He needs a couple deep breaths here, and he just needs to move on and move past that. But the nerves are getting to him at this point. I already know that for a fact.
And we saw this not in the round 2, but round 3 last year when he was battling with Macbeth and Perkins as Perkins lines up his birdie putt. Unbelievable. It looked like it was in the heart of the chains, comes back out at him, hits the rim, and flops out. He stared at it in disbelief.
We're staring at it in disbelief. I mean, that was a beautiful putt by Nate, and sometimes it just is what it is, I guess, and you got to move on.
I guess the only thing we could really say is that was with authority. Maybe a little too much authority there, as you would expect the basket to catch that putt no matter what, but the chains didn't react the way we expected, and we're going to be moving on to hole 6 after a pretty eventful hole 5. We thought this could be all birdies. We only got one of them. So let's take a peek at the hole 6 preview. What can we expect?
Yeah, and here we are on hole 6. Just a bending shot down to the right. Forearm works well. Sidearm works well for this. But really, it's all about when you come into the green. This is a big now sloping down area. It's all about if the players can control the speed into the green. Again, at just 267 feet. It's one of those holes you want to get. And now we have just a perfect view of what the players are dealing with coming into that green. And they want to land it just a little bit short and let the speed of that ground play take them right to the pin.
Yeah, absolutely. And some beautiful images coming from our cameramen out there, looking like a very nice day shaping up here. And Ricky's just dialed in. Let's see if he can keep it going here on the 6th.
Stop 50 short.
Yeah, is that it? Yeah, I think that's his disc. Yeah, right there in the center of your screen. So trying to play that ground play, but got just caught up a little bit. And that's the thing about the tall grass and the hard pan, trying to find that perfect landing zone.
He did throw a mid-range, whereas Nate is going to a fairway driver here, a little higher, and gets knocked down. It's got to be frustrating for him. It was a good line.
Yeah, and it's always interesting playing at this time of year, because if you were to come back to this course in, say, June, well, first of all, it'd be a lot hotter, but you would see a totally different looking course. You know, we'd be seeing a lot more leaves on the trees and things like that. So he got caught up in some of those invisible branches, and just it was had a little bit too much speed as well. And you can see Germ with the mid range.
Hold it left and hits a tree, gets knocked down to the left. He's going to have to do a little scrambling just to get his par. Definitely still in the cards, but not what he wanted coming off of a missed birdie putt. He's got to find a way to reset. And as we mentioned last year, he found some struggles on the front nine of the third round, went on to win the tournament. So we're not counting him out, but we're looking for him to turn it around sometime soon. Wow, what a line from Dollar. He's going over the top.
And parking it. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. How can I even, I can't even do that. How could I even commentate on that? That's just so interesting. But Dollar making it work. Nice shot there by Dollar, for sure.
And that's something that he's probably practiced for a dozen shots. This is his first year here, but he got a couple practice rounds in, and it's something he knows was going to work.
Yeah, and I just see Big Germ up there to the right, and you know, Big Germ just not playing well right now. The one thing that Germ has on his side at this moment is his play from yesterday. And if he can just tighten it up here within the next few holes, before we get to hole 9, if he can tighten it up just a little bit, he's going to be okay. But at this point, the damage has been done mentally, and he has to try to fight through it for sure. He might go back and look at this coverage and say, Nate, why you calling me out so much? But he's the 2-time champ of the tournament.
And he started 1 for 5, and Paul McBeth has officially started 7 for 7 and passed Big Germ. As we see Nate pitching one up, giving it a little baby run.
Yeah, I mean, that was a baby run, but from that distance, you know, they're not looking to do much. But from right here, Ricky Wysocki is just going to be locked and loaded, keep the streak going.
Oh, and it splashes out right side. It looked money out of his hand and just couldn't fade back enough. It just stayed dead straight, didn't it?
It did. It just was on that high right side.
Where you want to miss, I suppose, but it looked almost good enough to fall, as we see Germ tapping in for his par.
And as I see that par come across the board, I also see another birdie from Paul McBeth. It's eerie how similar Paul is playing on this second round to last year's second round. I mean, it's eerie, seriously.
Yeah, and we don't have any footage right yet, but we may get a camera over there at some point in time for your viewing pleasure at home. We are here at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Disc, and the crowd goes crazy for Matt Dollar, who just threw an incredible thumber, parked at the only birdie on this hole for our lead card, 3 pars, and we're headed to hole 8. It's the shortest hole in the course. Nate, let's see the whole preview. Hole 7, excuse me. This is actually the Savage hole. Nate, take us through it.
There you go. Yeah, the hole 7, the Savage hole, presented by Savage Ultimate. And you can see as we come out of the woods, there's 2 ways of playing this. Get it out into the open, pitch it to the basket for your birdie, or take that sidearm and go aggressive and try to get up into Eagleville right here. If the players are anywhere in this opening, they'll have a birdie putt. You go down through the low, back up to the pin, and there it is. But, you know, this is one of those types of holes that, while I think for the most part can be pretty easy as far as birdie's concerned, you can also get caught up super early, and that can definitely be detrimental.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to give a big shout out and thank you to Savage Ultimate, making great apparel and gear, not just for Ultimate, but for disc golf. We see a lot of our players featuring some Savage apparel this year, led by a few of the pros on tour.
Yeah.
We're seeing the catch cam from the fairway, and we can see Ricky in his bright orange back on the tee as we get ready to see some of the tee shots here on Savage Hole 7.
Yeah, and so playing Ultimate Savage means you play with only 7 players, Jeff. If you didn't know that, now you do.
Well, I've been starting to learn it. Val has been reminding me of this, and I used to play a little bit of Ultimate, never too organized, but it's something that a lot of our disc golfers have played growing up or still play now, and the two sports just really complement each other. So we want to thank Savage again. We've got Matt Dollar taking the lead here. Teeing off down the fairway. Looks like it's leaking right. Kicking back into the opening. That was a great kick.
Yeah, that's the kind of the tricky thing about this. If you get it a little too straight, I mean, the hole in reality is almost dead straight, but the players need to try to work something a little bit more stable. Interesting, we're not seeing the sidearm from Ricky, but he's got his game plan. He's asking for it to go, and it did just that. And he should be in a beautiful position for a birdie from that point.
He needed the skip, and he got it as Nate Perkins takes the tee. Nate's cooled down after a good 2 for 2 start, 4 straight pars. This is one where a par will feel like a bogey. He needs a birdie here.
Needs a kick is what he needs right now, and he doesn't get it.
Yeah, challenging that right side and not getting the love that we saw Matt Dollar get as his disc kicked out. Nate stayed in, and we have seen Germ go for the eagle on this hole. Let's see if he can dial it up. He had a great throw yesterday. We're looking for him to get down into that ditch with a flex forehand.
Oh, he's got it on a better line. If he can just hang on. And he can't. That wind as he came out, and the wind is pushing him into those bushes there, and that wind just grabbed him there.
Yeah, it's tough out there. The wind has picked up from yesterday. It's something the players are battling here as we see walk down the path to their shots. Let's throw it to a quick 30-second commercial, and we'll be right back with the action on hole 7. And we're back. We're seeing a view from the green, looking back at our competitors. We've got a couple in the rough on the right side. Here's one of them, Nate Perkins. Nate's in with some grapevines. It's going to be a pretty special shot to get all the way into birdie range, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him give it a go. Either that or, yeah, just pitching out.
Yeah, really, there's nothing he can do. And as we were kind of going through this hole in the overview, it's one of those things where, if you get caught up early, you just have to pitch out and take your medicine. Unfortunately, these guys are seeing names just zoom past them on the leaderboard, but it's one of those things you have to just take the medicine and just get out and just move on.
Yeah, and Dollar is a quick player. He stepped up and threw, and he's only 10 feet away. Even though he's in a bush, he should have no problem for his birdie. As we see our current leader, Ricky Wysocki, one clear, Paul McBeth. No problem there for Ricky. He's going to have a nice look at his birdie putt. A little bit of work to do, but shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of work, and of course you have the pit right behind the basket, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be much for him. And Nate just trying to dial one in, getting a little low, staying on the step down there. He'll have just an uphill putt. I would prefer that. to be just a little bit short, just that little uphill putt.
Yeah, and we see Germ here. He has gone a long way. As we mentioned, he was trying for the eagle, so he had an aggressive drive. He is not that far away. I'd say inside of 100 feet here, and he's just looking for a window to give himself a birdie putt. As we mentioned, he needs to get back on track. You talked about him trying to tighten up here, heading into some key holes where the challenge steps up. He doesn't want to miss many of these opportunities.
Well, no, and as I said, I mean, names are just, I mean, the guy was at top, and now he's in T4, with just one piece of blue. He just needs to tighten it up and just get through 7 and 8, and then he's so comfortable on 9, 10, 11, 12 that he could still make a good run here, but the problem is that the big names are feasting on this course right now, and that's spells trouble for our two-time champ. But again, he is the two-time champ, so I mean, we're never going to call him out. There's no doubt.
And we know the other name that has passed Big Germ is Paul Ulibarri, who is 5 down through 8, and he's at 17 under par, 2 off of Ricky Wysocki's lead at the moment. Of course, he's a couple holes in front of this lead card, so we'll see if they can catch up with the holes that they do have in hand. Looks like he's found a gap. But he got knocked down there. It's going to be a tricky lie. He may have a look. It looks like he may be around circle's edge, but going to have an obstructed putt, and he's going to need to make it happen there, as we see Ricky negotiating the cart here. Maybe a little struggle on the downhill. But
well, and you right there, you just saw a little slap of his leg by Jeremy. And the thing is that he was, his blood pressure is rising. It's rising and rising and rising. It's not that cool, calm, everything great from yesterday. So this is when you just tighten up just a little bit. Now you see that lie just down here in the basin. He's not OB. This is just casual water. So
Nate, can he take relief behind that, or does he have to get his foot wet there?
It would depend on what the TD's determination was early on. He's taking his full lie. So, in fact, it doesn't really matter at this point. I think a full lie is going to give him a better look. He's got to do like a high hyzer putt from this point.
For birdie. Oh, off the top rim and rolling into the shoal. This could spell even more trouble for Big Germ Coling, our former leader, falling down the leaderboard a little bit here. And this is going to be a big putt out of the shoal. He's got long legs. He could stretch out, but
I mean, that's disaster at this point. They're trying to figure out who's out at this point, but
could still be Germ.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're trying to determine, and I think they have determined that he is out.
Yeah, never easy to push your competitor like to throw again. The 3 worst words in golf: you're still out, and Germ is still out. Sometimes adversity like this, if he could save the par, maybe this will get him back on track. Hard saying. He looks like he's focused in. Let's see if he can make the connection here on hole 7. And there it is. You can see some energy. He's very happy to have that save. Probably feeling a little better now than he would have if he just had a tap in, potentially.
For sure. And did you see the way he putted it? It was so much more confident, and Nate just stepping up. As I said, that little uphill putt, that was Nate's par. Again, him just chipping out after a poor tee shot. But, yeah, I mean, he nailed that and hit it. He was clapping immediately for himself, trying to get himself going. And Ricky doesn't need to get himself going. He's already going with another birdie.
Ricky Wysocki pretty much on fire, only missing 1 putt, barely spitting out. As we see Matt Dollar in a close position, shouldn't have too much trouble negotiating this shoal, and we expect him to knock this in, even though it is a little awkward. Oh, very quick play there. Hits the chains and kicks out. He is a quick player, and he's in for his par. And we are done with hole 7. A lot of interesting action here early on in this event. I'm surprised, but let's head over to hole 8. It is the shortest hole. It's at 213. And Nate, take us through the whole preview here as we move on.
Yeah, we will see hole 8 right here. It is the shortest hole, but it's one of the most technical as well. Again, a sidearm just fitting it perfectly. A nice little flexy sidearm. Those trees on the right are the ones they're trying to avoid. If they hit anything early, it's disaster. But look at that green, that slope from left to right. If they go long, they can go down to it. And really, we've now played 7 holes, and we haven't seen great play from anybody except for Ricky in this group.
Does that have to do anything with nerves?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt it has to do with nerves, mainly because of the fact that, like I said, Ricky Wysocki is the leader, and he's a 2-time world champion, and he just seems to be playing so well. So, yeah, there's nerves.
That's what I heard.
And I mean, I said it was definitely nerves, and I don't mean to say that these guys are just nervous and they've never been here. I mean, Nate and Germ went into a battle last year in front of the crowd.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But it sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, especially if you're just not feeling comfortable, and every day is a new day.
Every day is a new day. And as soon as you start getting off track, if you're not feeling it, I mean, maybe it depends on your performance each and every time, as we see a very interesting approach here. The low thumber, Matt's not loving it. Caught up on the left side. Ricky, by the way, has already thrown, feeling comfortable. And he's up right next to the basket as we see Nate Perkins attacking the shortest hole out here with a forehand. Oh, yes. He's scooched by.
Yeah, but
it caught up?
No, it hit on a weird angle, and this is what I'm talking about with the grass and the hard pan. He hit the grass and just stuck.
So he did not get the skip he was looking for. And here's boom. Huge putt with a falling away green. That meant a lot to Nate, and I think you could see it in his body language. He's staying zoned in, but...
Oh, that was huge. I mean, now, forget staying zoned in. That was huge because of the way it just went in. I mean, it was just a slam putt. And Ricky, hitting a little bit early, but taking that trickle. Again, the hole's only 213 feet. So if he hit 175 feet down the fairway, he's still pretty close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Germ stepping up quickly as well.
All right. So our lead card getting back on track. 3 for 4 here on the 8th hole. And before we get to 9, we're going to take a quick peek at our hole preview. It's one of the most challenging holes out here. It is a par 5, the first of the day. And Nate, take us through.
Yeah, first of our 2 par 5s in the wood. Both of them eagleable, only 519 feet. So distance-wise, it's not so tough. But the players have to try to negotiate down into this area right here. If they can get down into the low, they turn the corner and they can see up the hill here, up to this green. And we saw Big Germ basically park this hole for eagle yesterday. So tons and tons of opportunity. There's also opportunity for disaster. Yeah, I think we're going to come up onto a backup on this hole. So we could be here for quite a while, as well as the players.
We know the chase card is on this hole. They have not completed it. So it's a good time to take a look at our leaderboard. Ricky Wysocki now has a 3-stroke lead. He is 21 down. Head on over to UDisc Live if you want to check the live stats. Paul McBeth is up further on the hole. He is putting for birdie, so he's not going to get that eagle that we talked about, that he went 10 down through 9 holes last year in this second round. There's our scoreboard. We've got a tie for third, Big Germ hanging in, but that birdie putt was big for Nate Perkins. It brought him from 8th to 5th. Emerson Keith, another strong forehand player, moving up the leaderboard, 5 down through 8. And I think we're live and we're ready to go on the tee with Ricky Wysocki here at the 9th.
Well, I'm surprised they're clear, but man, good for them. And Ricky gotta get a little bit further. Well, he actually stayed on that tier, and there's one more tier to get into that perfect zone. So I think Eagle talk is over for Ricky, but he's still in really great position to birdie this hole. And at the end of the day, the birdies are good. So
some really great footage here from our sneaky cinematic cams. Always got a little foliage, plus these great reactions from the players' faces as Nate Perkins lets it rip down the right side, holding a straight line. It's fading out. If it can check up short of the woods, he may be okay. Let's check on the chase catch cam.
Yeah, we're not sure if it did check or not. But see, I like this play, and this is one of the reasons why Germ, is the two-time champ. He's comfortable in the woods with the sidearm.
These touch sidearms are so hard.
Yeah.
He's one of the best here.
Well, and the thing is if he can get to the bottom of the hill, let's see the face. He's looking. There it is. Oh, and that looks beautiful.
So good.
Yeah, I think the crowd should give him that reaction.
No reaction from the crowd.
Well, not from the guys down below.
Stone cold killers down there. Maybe he took a weird kick. And a big backhand, and it gets caught up fighting. Oh, and kicking left. Probably out of Eagleville there for $1, but still an opportunity. It's a long hole, so plenty of opportunity for these guys to get back into position if they're out of position early.
Yeah, I think from the mind of the player, this is a par 5. Whether you think it's a par 5 or not, you're playing it, of course, off the tee. You're standing on the tee going, I can 3 this hole. It's 519 feet. I can 3 it. Okay. When you can't do that, okay, let's go for the 4. We'll still get the birdie. You're not going to lose much to very many at all because a birdie's still a birdie. So, you're going to see a handful of eagles. We've seen some pop up on the board, and we now see that Paul Macbeth has completed this hole and birdied it. So 9 for 9 for Paul. Are we seeing another potential 18 for 18 with this guy? Who knows? But what I really like about Germ's play, again, even though it's a little tricky touch sidearm, which I always think is kind of funny, but the way that it finishes. Here, cool. We see Eagle up on the next, is it the next
This is the chase card on the 10th hole.
Yeah, 10th hole.
Eagle McMahon, one of the prettiest holes out here. One that you can really let it rip, and it looks like he took it up the right side, caught a little foliage. We see our spotter out there. Looks like he didn't get the full flight, but next up on the tee, we have Kevin Jones, looking spry, looking excited.
Jones has always got great energy. He's always popping around and jumping around. So, yeah, K. Jones. Boom.
And this is one of the longest throwers with the most power on tour. Wow.
Took a big kick there.
Looked great, but it just had a little too much turn on it.
Yeah, just a hair. Hopefully he didn't kick in too far. Again, that's a par 4. Our lead car will be up there here in just a little bit. I think that I believe the Eagle McMahon card was the 3rd card. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, because there's our 2nd card, Yuli and Paul, but that's a fun card.
Emerson Keith and James Conrad, yeah. And it's great to see Kevin Jones, as we were just seeing his drive, up near the leaderboard. He came in tied for 29th at the first Disc Golf Pro Tour event at the Memorial, whereas Eagle won it. So these two now on the same 3rd card here, hoping to make a bigger impact in the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings as we see Matt Dollar with a stretch out forehand. Looks good.
Yeah, it looked real good. A little bit on the player's right side, our left side there. But he should put himself down there with an opportunity to now get up to the green in 3 to look for the birdie. And interesting, look at what Ricky's looking at right now. I just saw Germ going, wait, what? But no, he's going to, I think, play just the traditional look. One thing I know about Ricky, and I've known Ricky for a long time now, he's always looking to go for it, like no matter what. So
he has a high level of confidence.
He's going high sidearm. So he is, at this point, if he takes that, he's going to be looking to go for eagle. Good luck to our cameraman keeping an eye on this one. But, yeah, he's going up and above.
He's only 200 feet away from the pin. And I think that's his disc right there.
It is.
Wow,
Yeah.
he has an eagle putt. He went high over all of the trees. Something that I'm sure he's practiced before. If you've ever seen Ricky prepare for a round, he's throwing 5, 6, 7 discs off the tee, chasing them all down, throwing every shot possible. So he knows that angle.
Oh, well, if he doesn't, he certainly felt like he could. But, yeah, he does. He practices just like a crazy man a lot of times. And here we go. We see Nate Perkins. He's just a little bit left there.
And this truly looking –
this
like
is a
par
tough
4
shot, though. Yeah, this is still a really tough shot. But he's up there, circle 1-ish, maybe about 10 feet outside of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, here's Germ. I don't know if I completed my thought fully, but that sidearm just finishes back into the middle of the fairway. And, boy, this guy, he loves this hole. He really does.
He has under 200 feet on a par 5. And it just shows you how key that tee shot is. It's a difficult tee shot, but if you execute it, you're going to be in a great spot for eagle.
Now, wait. The producers, was that just the replay of yesterday? Come on. That was amazing. Nice job, Big Germ. He really, really needed that. I mean, the guy's still T4. I mean, he's fine, but he needs, like I said, he just needed to get to hole 9 at this point. And I seriously, because
it's a Big Germ hole. It's seemingly
he's feeling it.
He's feeling it on this hole, and here we see Matt Dollar making the switch to MVP, along with Sarah Hokum, who we saw on the lead card FPO. MVP picking up a couple players this year. Here's the basket. Of note, Paul McBeth is 9 for 9. Ricky sitting 7 for 8, but with an eagle putt to go 9 down through 9 as well. And this harkens back to what we saw for multiple years on tour, kind of changing the narrative recently, but Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki at the top of the big-time tournaments.
Yeah, nothing our fans at home aren't used to at this point. Oh, nice shot there by Dollar. So he is going to go ahead and pick up his birdie as well. And it goes to what I said. I mean, if you can't get the eagle, the hole's only 519. Just play it down the middle, get your birdie. No harm, no foul. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Hole 9, while treacherous, is playing significantly under par, as we haven't seen very many bogeys whatsoever. Have to scroll down the UDisc Live leaderboard quite a ways till you find our first bogey.
Right, and this is now Nate for birdie, because he did get caught up early, played down in the middle. So, yeah, this is his birdie putt. I believe that was for birdie. Maybe it wasn't. He ran it in like an eagle.
Yeah,
there
it was
you go.
an eagle.
Nice,
I didn't want to say anything until I was sure, but he did have that step out sidearm, getting caught up. And these guys making this hole look easy. With one eagle in, we have 2 more eagle putts, and Matt Dollar already in for a birdie. We could see a 7 under par hole here if Ricky can knock this in. And the way he's been on fire putting, it doesn't look like he's obstructed.
What's 4 eagles? A galaxy frame? 4 birdies a star frame.
I think it's a solar system frame.
Solar
you can't
system.
just jump to a galaxy frame.
That's true.
And no problem there. A little obstructed on the view. Our cameramen are doing wonderful work today. Really appreciating this really high definition coverage here as Germ taps in his eagle.
I mean, taps in an eagle. I mean, that's just incredible.
And Nate, you couldn't have said it better. If he could tighten things up before 9, it seems like he could get back on track, and he did just that. 7 down through 4 players on hole 9. We're going to throw it to hole 10 for an overview of one of the most beautiful holes here at the Beast, Brazos Park East.
Yeah, and as we do head over to hole 10, it is really a signature hole, and in my opinion here, 591 feet, just a beautiful, long, flowing fairway that finishes just slightly to the left. It's basically straight as a crow flies. But, yeah, the guys are just trying to go through this right-hand gap here and bend it just right back into the middle for the beautiful view of the green and sliding it up. At 591, fairly easy par 4 from a distance standpoint. If the players put themselves in good position off the tee, birdie is definitely in here. And I think if we're lucky enough, we're going to get to see 2 groups play this hole. And I always love getting extra disc golf. You know, as a player, I'd get caught up a lot in backups, and of course, nobody likes a backup. But as commentators, we get to see 8 players play it now, so.
Which we love. And here's Paul McBeth. He's 9 down through 9. Very interesting narrative going into the back 9 for Paul, because after he threw 10 down through 9 last year, which we've been talking about quite a bit, he went cold. Right. And did not finish super strong in the second round of the Waco event last year. So let's see how he does. And as we wait here, I want to note that Seppo Payu just had 2 eagles in the span of 4 holes, eagling both 9 and 12, something we haven't seen a lot of, but he is now 11 down through 13 and creeping up the leaderboard as well. A European sensation. Let's see if Paul McBeth can put a sensational move on this tee shot.
That's the gap we're talking about, right, as his disc flies. Oh, and it just hits the last tree. That's still okay. He's in the short grass.
I got to be honest. I wanted to see where that was going to end up. It looked so good, so pure. It was right down the middle. That could have challenged the green. 591 feet is not out of the realm of possibility when we have such an open fairway here. Emerson Keith, you folks at home might not be accustomed to him, but get accustomed to him because he's put in a lot of good finishes lately in the last 2 years, and that's a great drive.
Yeah, skipping well past Paul's disc. Of course, Paul hitting there, but in the short grass again, birdie opportunity on a par 4 that's just 519 feet. But yeah, here's Paul Ulibarri. Everybody knows Yuli, one of our veterans of the tour. I would call him disc golf's Iron Man. He got it just a little high, but sit just on the edge.
Skipping, rolling, curling to a stop. He should have a forehand approach from there. And hey, great to see James Conrad on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you know, making his breakout career the first year of the Pro Tour, and he's got a lot of power.
Yeah, I played a lot with James. Really a quiet guy, but funny in his own right, and of course a great disc golfer. But yeah, I remember he came on to the scene, and I was just thinking in my head when I met this guy for the first time, like, oh man, who's this guy? But then after I played with him, like, no, this guy's the real deal, and he's had a lot of really great finishes. So yeah, great to see James on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, of course, and yeah, it's. Look at this. This is just okay. We're putting the fans at home in with the crowd. You know, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and as the chase cards comes up the fairway, I want to introduce you guys a little bit more to Emerson Keith. He's from Louisville, Texas. He turned pro in 2016, and he is sponsored by Latitude 64. He came in tied for 7th last year at Waco. And being from Texas, maybe he's enjoying that hometown comfort that we've seen Nate Perkins, you know, come to know and love here at the Waco Annual Charity Open.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, Texas is the second biggest state in the United States, so you could be from one end to the other and not even know any of the courses. But yeah, Louisville really not being too far away. I believe it's in the Dallas area. Could be wrong there, but yeah, you know, it's definitely comforting when you're close to home. You know, when you have to travel thousands of miles to get to a tournament, it's always a lot easier to just go, you know, maybe a few hours in your car. So a lot of comfort there for sure. And now we see where Paul McBeth has landed. This is a beautiful view of what he has to deal with to this point. Just about 260 out from the basket.
And we can see the line that he's most likely going to take, trying to miss that shorter bush-like tree on the right, come just inside that, and just playing a right-to-left shot.
Correct.
His line looked good, but he got a very aggressive skip. Hopefully that settled down before he got into the foliage on the backside of the green.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it in the overview, but the left side of this green definitely slopes away from the player. So, yeah, he might have gone down into that little bit of the low area. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Paul did end up. Yeah, there's Emerson just getting lined up. I've never played with Emerson. But, yeah, he seems like a little firecracker, huh?
Yeah, he's made his debut last year on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, really, having his first great finish here at Waco, but he went on to have good performances, and I believe he played well on the Ledgestone. That looks like a good upshot, a little short, but probably right around circle's edge. Using a little nice reaction off the tree near the green. Oh, and James has just got a beautiful look, and you can see why we lobbed this hole. It's just a beautiful grassy fairway. Reminds me of a hole from maybe Nantucket almost, back east. I think I said that the other day, and James looks like he's put a great move on this one as he approaches the green.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Beautiful by James. Appreciative of the crowd, and yeah, we got these beautiful views of the crowd. I mean, it's always tough. I think we talked a little bit about this yesterday with the crowd in the woods. You kind of feel a little bit kind of compacted, but a hole like this is great, because you got a little bit more space.
Yeah, it's nice to see a nice chase card gallery forming here. We got people on bikes.
all kinds of things.
We've got some nice DGPT volunteers out there and tournament staff, and this is a great time to recognize the Waco staff led by tournament director Ryan Draper as we see Paul Ulibarri with a nice forehand flexing back in. He caught something up high, and he's going to be having a longer look than he'd like for his birdie, and in fact that's going to be low odds that he's going to cash in on that one.
Well, we'll see, but it just shows you if you're a little bit high off the tee, that skipping away motion took him just a little bit to the left, and now he had to work his way back into the fairway. So keeping it low and really driving down this fairway, a low driving shot and finishing where James did, is a huge advantage. I mean, James was wide open.
Paul is still out here, and he's got a little toss.
Shut up, Rick. Dude,
Call that a chip?
A little chip up under the basket. I like that a lot.
Or a pitch.
A pitch or a chip. Usually a pitch, you're not you're breaking your wrists in ball golf, and a chip you're not. So I don't know. I've always tried to think about how does that translate to disc golf?
That was a chip then.
That was a chip.
Yeah.
I think that was a chip.
I didn't see a wrist break.
And Emerson, a little short. Looks like he is is he outside the circle here, Nate?
Right at the edge.
Right at the edge.
I mean, it's just a perfect view. I mean, it tells you a lot of where Paul maybe ended up inside this. So Paul's going to have a birdie putt from just a little bit closer than Emerson.
US Live is telling us it is inside circle 1.
1,002. That was two. Yeah, it was right at the edge. It was just under 2 seconds in the air.
And his putt glancing off the top, a little dejected. That's a tough one to affect his circle 1X putting stats. Not that that's the biggest concern on his mind right now, as Paul Macbeth is lining up his birdie putt. We cut back to the tee. Let's listen in.
Baseball, you just throw your arm out. That's about it.
Maybe once you make the majors, most of them still.
yeah.
Even if you get drafted, you could go to
60,
AAA.
70.
Yeah, my cousin played AAA for like 10 years, but
There's not much.
played
Yeah.
MLB for like 5 at the end.
Nice.
You all paid off at the end. Last year he got $6 million.
Yeah, kind of an interesting story here. You see that Sake Bomb logo there. Jeremy Colling did that logo for Ricky. So you can just see how much of a family this really is. These guys helping each other out, helping each other with promotion, and doing all those types of things. And that's one of the things I still love about this game, is that these guys are still friends.
Well, you're right, Nick. They travel together, they tour together, they all know each other once they get out there and are moving around. And in order to keep things going, sometimes you got to support each other too.
I didn't remember that bad. I don't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I just was watching a movie about a guy who ran the Appalachian Trail. And in 2017, or I think 2016, one guy did it in 48 days, and that guy came back and supported the next guy to break his own record. So disc golf having a little bit of that as well. It's about supporting everybody, and everybody succeeds if just disc golf succeeds.
Paul Macbeth knocking in his birdie putt on the green, going 10 for 10. Got an absolutely clean sheet. It's all blue from Macbeth.
Well, I was going to mention, as we do see these guys, and now Ricky's stepping up, but really it was like the top 8 players were all on this one hole. So these guys are still all playing well,
Absolutely. And see if Ricky can put a great move on it. He's got his Huck Lab stamped. Probably Destroyer.
See, and that's I'm worried about the high. Yep, high.
What a great reaction. That could have gone deep, but he gets a kick out. And as we know, this hole's not about distance, so he's going to still be able to get up and in for birdie,
possibly,
even though he's a little further back.
Yeah.
Oh, and the percolator, putting a little pep on that one, getting a little tree love. Oh, and back into the middle. 2 kicks.
Let me look at my notes here. I think that was 4 kicks, ticks, and skicks. Keeping them in the fairway, though. Yeah, that was lucky.
The forehand play, a little surprising. It rises up and gets kicked down over to the right side. That's not going to be a great position to attack.
No, that's a bad shot. Germ's not sure even what happened. I'm not sure if he slipped. It was high right off the bat, high and left.
And it looked like he played quickly. It's a long wait. He's sitting and waiting. All of a sudden, boom, it's his turn. And he didn't think twice. He just let it rip. It's tough managing these breaks. When the cards are backed up, players have different strategies. And here's Dollar going with the backhand. It's coming down the right side, and it looks like it got knocked down just in front of Germ. So, not great off the tee here. Maybe a symptom of a longer wait, even though we did see great banter. The cards relaxed and friendly, but still, you get out of your rhythm. They'd been flowing even through hole 9, and they hit the backup. But here we go. We're going to throw to a quick 30-second break, and we'll be right back here with more coverage of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. A 14 down Andrew Presnell. He had a clean sheet, only 5 pars, and he ended with an eagle 2, putting himself in a great position. However, he's only 18 down, and we know the lead going into today was 15 down. So he probably is not in the mix to win it, but it's still a great round from Andrew. We do have our leader at 23 down, Ricky Wysocki, 9 down through 9. He's on this card, and our defending 2-time champ, Big Germ, not sitting in a great position. He's going to have to make some magic happen here.
He needs to know he's playing this for par. He needs to know that right now. He needs to put himself in a good position.
That's a powerful forehand, and it does look like he's put himself in a good position, although...
I took a little kickback off that tree root, but yeah, it was tough position for him, but he needs to know that the par is all he's going to get right there.
Yeah, and he played that aggressively. I think he wanted to give himself a look. He's just outside of circle 2. We'll see if he runs it or not.
He's way back of that. That big tree is at least 150 feet from the pin. The whole 600 feet, I think he probably threw 180 maybe off the tee, so there's no way he's got to look. But it was just playing it for par. Putting yourself in the position for that long upshot, they're just getting themselves to where drives land.
And Matt Dollar going big.
Way better for Matt. And there you go. Yeah, you're right. There it is. He's up there.
He's up there. He's in between circle 1 and circle 2. This week we've got blue flags for circle 1 and white flags for circle 2, and you can see the basket there. Pretty guarded, but still plenty of avenues as our players look to approach this green. They can get creative out here, and that's one thing we love about the Beast Brazos Park East course here at Waco. There's room for a lot of creativity. This is a similar approach to what we just saw Paul McBeth throw. Ricky's hung it out wide. He needs that to move left. And it does, but it's filtered behind the green, but very close to the basket.
Yeah, he's close enough in for sure. Yeah, and I will admit that I just thought Germ was at the tree that's just to the left of Nate Perkins right now. So, but you're right, he is way up there with a possible birdie opportunity, but just wanted to make that correction.
And Nate, back on track. He's 3 down through his last 2 holes with the eagle. Not what he wanted there. He was in the best position of the entire group, maybe other than Ricky, with a big drive. And he's going to have to get up and down for his par. So, Germ and Nate looked like they had kind of regained steam, only to falter a little bit on hole 10. Maybe a symptom of the long wait, but Ricky Wysocki keeps marching along. He's only about 15 feet away. And we'll see how he negotiates the shul here on hole 10.
I mean, I have to say, though, and you were mentioning Andrew Presnell. I mean, yeah, Andrew's only at 18 down, so he's not going to be anywhere near the lead. And here is Germ. So, all right, folks, I don't know what I'm thinking. He's still about 80 feet. So I wasn't too far off. I always am willing to admit when I'm wrong, and there you go. He's played it well for that par.
We'll split the difference. Split the difference. He's got that par. He was, in range of circle 2, but with this green being a little tight, a little treacherous, not deciding to run it. As we see Ricky kind of clearing the way here and maybe going down to, where is he? He's kind of stuck, in not a great spot. He took a pretty rough kick. Looks like he's got a lane to the green and just skizzles it right up there.
But yeah, just quickly back to Andrew Presnell. I mean, he's in the clubhouse with a 14 down. That's one short of the course record, as we were talking about with Germ tying it yesterday. So good for Andrew. And he might become a factor in the tournament tomorrow. You never know.
And splashing out for his birdie. Couldn't quite recover after that drive to make it happen. Matt Dollar. And, we've been enjoying watching Matt play. He's been a little bit up and down. He's got 4 pars. He's got a bogey, 4 birdies. So he's only sitting 3 down. But it's really cool to watch him get onto a lead card and see his style with those thumbers. We know he can go low. Hopefully he can turn it on and really make an impact here. Our leader for birdie. Wow, no problem, Nate.
Yeah, no problem at all. And as Ricky was putting there, I was just looking really closely at the scores. And, it seems as if the battle is on between between Ricky and Paul. But, man, a 4-stroke lead at this point, and Paul just parring hole 11. So, Ricky, this is a scary moment for all the players out on the course. When Ricky Wysocki, just like Paul McBeth or any Eagle McMahon, Simon, when these guys start to go, they go. They're not stopping.
Yeah. And we're going to wrap up hole 10, moving on to hole 11. It's back to a par 3. What do we got here, Nate?
Yeah, just up the hill, 279 feet. Pretty clear first half of the hole, and then it comes into a pretty techie little finish. Because of the way the hole is designed, that tree on the right gets in the way quite a bit. The players want to try to get on that upper level by playing to what is our fans' left side, as you see the fans just walking up through the green area. They want to try to play up to there. That's nice and flat. If they end up on the low, that's okay, but it's hard to keep it from going into those woods just on the left side there. So tricky little hole. In fact, Paul McBeth parred it just a few seconds ago in that chase card. So nothing easy about it. at all. Fun little hole here.
Ricky playing to that fat side of the green, and he knows this hole really well. I mean, that was incredible. I thought it was going to head out to the right side.
I think he took a kick. It had to be a kick. That either way, what a beautiful shot.
Yeah. I that makes more sense now you say maybe it took a kick, because I thought it was going to flare out to the right. And unfortunately, Nate can't get it going here. Let's see what Germ can do after a par at the last hole. Looks good out of his hand. That is right for the yes, and it checks up by the tree. He's right next to the basket. That's what he needed.
Yeah, and that's by utilizing that sidearm, coming into that hillside. He's just below the basket. Should be a great opportunity. We see all four of our players. Oh, and Dollar. Well, he just didn't seem comfortable at all. He was just a little fidgety and really just a low right. No chance from the get-go on that one. It's going to be a tough save for him, and that's something that we talked about a little bit yesterday. If you get caught up early on these wooded holes, it's almost like you're just trying to get back to where a good drive would land.
And here's our leaderboard up on the left. Wysocki with that 4-stroke lead, and right now Big Germ knows that he's behind by a significant margin, being on the same card with Ricky. So good to see him respond to Ricky's park job up there. But one thing I wanted to mention is Seppo Payu. He is 12 down through 15 and making a charge up the board. He has in range of a new course record. If he goes birdie, eagle, which is doable, especially with how hot he is, he would set a new course record at 16 under par. We're going to be watching that closely as he comes down the stretch here. Here's Matt Dollar. Get in. Oh, and he buzzes the basket, just coming up short. Great line.
I like it. I like it.
And Nate is up next, tucked in on that left side. And he's just chipping up. And no problem there from Nate.
Yeah, so, where Germ's walking up right now, kind of right where Ricky is as he comes, there's a tree right there that he's walking just around to his left of. And Germ just walking in past it right there. That's the tree I believe Ricky hit, and it just kicked him into the perfect zone. So only getting better for Ricky Wysocki.
It's great to see Germ responding. He probably had the truest drive of our entire card, and let's see if he can knock this in. He's taking his time and staring this one down. Right in the heart. Crowd loves it, and Germ seems to have gotten back on track here as we see Ricky tapping in his two and going, now with the hot round for sure. Because we saw Macbeth's score come in. He missed this one, and Ricky is 11 down through 11. Are we seeing something special unfold before our eyes? I feel like every time I say something like that, things go off the rails for our competitors. So hopefully I'm not throwing any bad mojo towards Rick. But, 11 down through 11 with eagleable holes in front of him. This could be something truly special, and I'm starting to get excited to see how he gets this next hole, hole 12, negotiated, because it is our longest hole. It is a par 5. Let's throw it over to the hole preview. I cannot wait to see what the results are on this one.
Yeah, boom, here we go, hole 12. It's a big U-shaped hole playing all the way to the right and right and right and more right. And there's a couple of Mandos forcing the players to play down through this fairway. You can see this is where they're trying to get off the tee, and then it plays up the hill at 609 feet. An eagle is really something special here. You got two 300-foot shots through the woods, and you're still about 50 feet once you crest that hill into a pretty flat green area, and kind of one of those types of areas where there's a lot of little bushes and things that the players are trying to negotiate as they get up to it.
And unsurprisingly, the par 5 leads us to another backup. Here we are on the tee, And we're going to take this chance to throw it to a quick 30-second commercial, and we'll be right back with you here at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. And welcome back. We're going to welcome you here to the booth. I'm Jeff Spring. I'm here with Nate Doss. And Nate, this action is just heating up. I'm excited to see the chase card and the lead card able to play this longest hole, par 5, hole 12.
Yeah, and so am I. I mean, for everybody at home, look at the notes we're making here. That's why they call this the Beast course. And we're seeing some beastly rounds. It's been fun. I mean, in a way, I'm a little bit still excited that we have so many holes left. Sometimes, you get towards the end of a round, you want to just get through. But at this point, I want to see what these guys got in store. And I'm excited to see how these next, 6 holes, 6, 7 holes go. And leading into tomorrow, these guys are ready to play.
Yeah, and I want to talk about hole 12 a little bit. These par 5s, they are short in terms of regular par standards. Back at Smuggler's Notch, we held the World Championship last year. We have some par 4s that are over 600 feet in the woods. What differentiates these? Is the thickness of the rough on the sides? I mean, you can get in trouble, or is it just, your interpretation of par? We know that par in disc golf is a hotly debated topic.
Oh, it definitely is. And, we've talked about this a lot off air. And, really it comes down to the tournament director and the course designer and all those things. But, yeah, some people would say maybe this is a soft par. Some people would say maybe it's right where it needs to be. At 609 feet, par 5, I like the idea of talking about eagles and all that stuff. So it's one of those holes, if you get caught up short, and we talked about it on hole 9. I mean, if you get caught up short, all of a sudden that hole's not so easy. So, and there's a lot of opportunities. We're just seeing the best players in the world playing at their best and executing these shots. I mean, you got guys 10 and 11 under through just 11 holes.
Absolutely,
so, yeah. There's...
And it's the way the game's going. We're seeing through the first 3 big events of the year, we had the National Tour debut at Las Vegas. We had the Disc Golf Pro Tour debut at the Memorial. And the scores are lower than ever. And course designers are really being challenged here to make par relevant again. It's almost like birdie is the new par here. And if you look throughout any message boards or chat rooms, it's definitely a hotly debated topic. And I think that course design in the next few years is going to get longer, and we see people taking advantage of that on ball golf courses. But you still need some of that tightness, some of that accuracy to come into the game, like we're seeing here at Waco. So it's interesting to be on a course like this.
Well, I think if we look into the history, I've been around this game for a long time. The early World Championships, well, maybe not the early ones, but let's just say go back to 91, 92. These guys were shooting 80 under par for 8.5 rounds, averaging 10 under. And this is cool. We get to come back and see some live action. The best disc golfers in the world have been making a lot of birdies for a long, long time. And that's the name of the game in disc golf. It's about understanding your disc, understanding your plastic, understanding the holes, understanding the task at hand, and executing all of those things together. And the best players in the world have the unique ability to be able to do that on a very, very consistent basis. So, good luck to the course designers out there in the world, because the players are on an endless mission to try to prove them wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to watch it evolve even through this year and the next few years, as we saw James Conrad off the tee, moving to our tied for 4th competitor, Emerson Keith. And again, on this par 5, so important to get off the tee here. It puts you in a position for an eagle or just a scramble to get your par.
Yeah, and if I didn't explain it in the overview, I should now. It's sort of a short-ish drive. I would say, like, just 300 feet is really all you need. You can't really get much more than that. And those look good. And now we see and no matter what happens, no matter where Paul is right now, when you're in clean brown dirt in the middle of the fairway, you're doing good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's really not that far. It's about putting yourself in the right position for then what will need to be an aggressive second shot.
And it's pretty impressive to see a player like James Conrad on the chase card here, because he does not throw forehands. We saw him throw a backhand turnover, and all our 3 other competitors throw forehands here. Paul Ulibarri, one of the best forehands in the world in terms of accuracy. Macbeth has been solid his entire career, probably an underrated forehand. And Emerson Keith, that's the shine of his game. But for James to be hanging in here, tied for 10th, it says a lot about his accuracy and his woods play.
Yeah, is there anything about a 4-time world champion that's underrated? I mean, am I just here to just give you a little bit, a little kickback every once in a while? No, you're right. But I mean, as you said about James, it's something that it says a lot about James's character as a player right now, that he would be not throwing very many sidearms and still continuing to compete at a very high level on a course that what we basically just continue to say day after day after day is a sidearm course, it's a sidearm course. And so, it says a lot about James. And it's always great to see a guy like James in the position and in this position.
Yeah, and this is intriguing just to see how he's going to approach this shot, because nearly every other competitor would throw a forehand here. It's going to finish to the right. He's tucked on the left side. The stance and the angle of the shot and the finish of the shot are all saying throw a forehand, but yet here he is going to throw a backhand. It just shows how much control he has.
Yeah, and before I go blab on about what he's going to do, I'm just going to wait and see what he does do.
One thing he does do is always take a big, long run up, needing usually about 15 to 20 feet.
And he was like,
and yeah, maybe I should have spoke. I would have sounded smart. I was going to say the one thing that's tough, right where James just hit at the top of that little rise, you're still about 50, 60 feet short of the basket. And he hit with just that little baby turn right there, and it just kind of, cut roll back down the hill. But he'll still have a birdie opportunity. Interesting to see Yuli lining up a backhand here.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well. As I mentioned, my opinion, it's lining up for a forehand, in which he has a strong one. But let's see how he plays it. Hyzer flip.
Oh, dude. Oh, there it is. It's still flying. Nice. That was kind of cool.
It looks like he caught some kind of tree on the right side, but he's up there, and the crowd appreciates it. And we can see Paul Macbeth, who is...
Are we going to see another underrated sidearm here, or are we going to see...
Potentially. I might be the only one who values the sidearm of Paul Macbeth at the appropriate level, apparently. But Paul looks like he's going to line up a backhand. And, that Hyzer flip from Ulibarri was very impressive. He had the height that James did not have to get it up that plateau onto the green. And we'll see where his shot ended up when we get up there. But here's Paul, putting together a pretty special round, 10 down through 11, looking to get it into Eagleville, as we've been talking about this week.
Paul taking his buzz, taking it a little bit wide. I believe he got up all the way up there pin high, for sure. For sure he's up on the upper level. I think we talked all about James there, but let's let our players tell us what's the right play here. Maybe it is just that as you crest that hill, it's still so far back that they want to throw something that might just be turning late, and height is really what's needed.
Yeah, and that's one of the most incredible shots where you're throwing a flip up that's going to turn so late and keep traveling. That was an impressive throw. I had my mouth open here in the studio, and he was challenging that upper echelon of the branches. Great drive here by Emerson. Shows you why he's up tied for fourth.
Weirdly amazing.
Let's see what he's working with here on his approach.
Strangest, most original form.
Yeah, and boy, we saw two guys get the height, saw two guys be a little bit low and take that little cut roll down into it. So, I mean, you know, we showed you the overview, but boy, the chase card's really shown us all we need to know about what our lead card is looking at as they come to look and play down now into the fairway of this 12th hole.
Yeah.
And she says, "What is this?"
And I mean, these two par fives really, you know, showing you what we were talking about before. The par is just a number. If these were par fours, might not change how these guys are playing. They're all attacking the green in 2 shots.
Yeah, I mean, if let's just say we were to take every par 5 on this course and change it into a par 4, and we were to take maybe some of the reachable-ish par 4s and turn them into par 3s, I mean, we're just going to lower the par, the finishing par. So no matter what, you know, the finishing score, no matter what, these are the best players in the world, and they're going to just try to play these shots in as few shots as possible.
Absolutely, and here's one of the best of this generation, Ricky Wysocki, with a nice forehand. Looked similar to what Macbeth did, and he's in a good spot there. Probably going to be attacking, but a little tucked on that right side. It looks like the left side, middle left, is probably where you want to be ideally.
Yeah, it must be mentioned, and maybe I see this stuff more than others, but Germ putting the jacket on and playing that like a fiddle perfectly in the middle, but putting the jacket on, showing us that maybe he is a little tight. Maybe, you know, it's mid to upper 50s out here, but just these backups can definitely.
Wow.
Boy, they're just getting further and further up the fairway, I guess.
Yeah, he's just rolling past Germ, and another great tee shot as we see Matt Dollar get ready. But maybe something he learned from the last backup going on to hole 10. He maybe was a little cold going onto his shot, and he did not have a great tee shot. So wanting to stay warm, getting the jacket on, and unfortunate, but still in the middle for Dollar. Probably going to dial back and go for his birdie now.
Yeah, he hit the invisible branch, as we would call it, or the iron leaf, I guess, sometimes too. But yeah, there was just an invisible branch just up there above, right where they're walking that he hit. But yeah, staying in the middle of the fairway is always a good thing.
Yeah, and a little update from Seppo Paiu, who has went on to birdie hole 16, and he is now 13 down through 16, marching towards the course record 15 down. Can he get 17? Can he eagle 18? We're kind of holding our breath here in the studio. I'm not sure if we're going to get live footage or not from that, but it's impressive to watch over on UDisc Live, one of the Disc Golf Pro Tour partners. Head on over to the website to stay up to date with all the information as we're here getting into the thick of the back nine at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. This Brazos Park East, the Beast course, is really treating us to a great show this week. It's in great condition. You can see Matt Dollar considering his second shot on the longest hole in the course. He's still about 400 feet away, trying to make the call on what disc to use.
Yeah,
showing a little juggling show here. I think they're going to wait for the chase card, and I think we're going to throw to a quick break. We'll be back in about 30 seconds here at the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Stroke.
State capital of Virginia was. That's his home state, and he was like, I'm like, dude, come on. He's like, Richmond.
I swear, every time
on the
I got
green,
a really good juggle going with frisbees, James just
following the
shows up
chase
out of
card
woods. He's like,
action.
He's like, just give me that. He's like,
having a little fun waiting.
He's so good.
Not a surprise.
I remember watching him do it at the Grange, like when he was just a teenager.
Oh, that's Germ.
What about it?
Beatboxing. I remember the you and Kobe beatbox.
Who?
You and Kobe. Where you just keep leading
Guys?
him on.
Oh, guys.
Just keep leading him on.
Kobe, if you're watching,
That's my favorite.
still hate you for that. He'll be like, all right, yeah, all right, hold on. I'm just hitting the beat, and he's just like, yeah, all right. He'd be like, no, okay. He'll do it for like 2 minutes. He'll never come in.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's our running bit though. Like I know it's coming, so I can't really be mad at myself or him.
Yeah, I'm gonna just throw a bummer. So I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee you the one person that's not there is Ricky. Ricky is probably just thinking, oh my God, I want to just get up there and play. You know, he just wants to play. But impressive stuff there by our fellas. And as I said, Germ always want to impress the fans, and he thinks he's got skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And that right there is a special skill from Matt Dollar. We literally see that from maybe 0 other competitors, just so dialed in, kind of reminding us of maybe Schwebby, who we know that he's good friends with, Brian Schweberger, going back to the North Carolina roots.
Yeah, I mean, if he throws another thumber, if he goes thumber, 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 birdie, then yeah, he's the thumber guy. And you're right, Schwebby does a lot of that as well. But yeah, those southeastern states, a lot of woods. Ricky needs to get up just a bit, and he rolled off that edge, and we saw a couple of guys in the group ahead of us do that, ultimately leading to I think a par for Emerson Key. No, he did get up and down for birdie. So, you know, it all depends on the lie down there.
Yeah, and we see the scores coming in from that chase card. We weren't able to show you the live footage, but Paul McBeth got back on track after a rough par on the 11th hole to regain his birdie streak. 11 down through 12 for McBeth. Only really being outpaced right now by our leader, Ricky Wysocki. And Big Germ getting the height needed, and there's the forehand. Let's see where that ended up. It's tight on the right.
Just a little short. If he's lucky, he'll have a look. But we've seen Germ get this eagle. You know, last year in the final round going eagle, birdie, birdie, eagle on 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are holes he's very comfortable with.
Nate going to the forehand as well, and as you mentioned, it does keep traveling once you get up that hill back to the basket, so the forehand usually does come up short, it seems.
Well, and I think to me, Nate just proving right there that I still feel like this sidearm is just a good option coming up that hill. It's all about, again, how they practiced it, what shots they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, and we're not seeing where they're landing here, but they are in position for birdie, and, the 3 on this hole is more difficult than hole 9. And update from Seppo, he did get the 4 on 17, so he's going to need the eagle to tie the course record. He's 13 down through 17. He's tied for 4th at 19 under. And right now there's a lot of players in the mix that would be actually in the mix if Ricky Wysocki wasn't 4 strokes in the lead. We see a tight grouping from 2nd place all the way down. Let's see, all the way down to about 13th place. 16 down is 13th place, all the way up to Paul McBeth at 21 under, and that's the same distance that he has to Ricky Wysocki.
Metal. So he didn't go with the thumber, but he did. He was going to have a drop in birdie there. So nice play by Matt Dollar, the dollar man there. And, that's something that I said. He got caught up early, and, he's just playing the hole for a birdie. And here, this is where I said it comes down to the lie. Ricky going for the turnover off that second shot. just looking at what he's got. But yeah, hitting a little bit low and cut rolling into the woods. It's all about the line if he's got a gap. Hitting a tree, leaving himself just outside the circle. So big putt there for Ricky Wysocki, you know, just to keep pace with all the other birdies on this hole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, nobody's rooting against anybody else out here. As we said, they're all friends, one big disc golf family. But you gotta believe that some competitors are hoping he's going to come back to the field or at least cool off a little bit. You said it at the start, you know, once the round gets underway, you're focused on your play, no matter who your competitors are. As we watch Big Germ now eyeing up the eagle. A long run at it, and he's left himself in good range for a birdie here. Should have no trouble cleaning that up. And so we've seen Big Germ find his groove a little bit. He is 4 down through his last 4 holes. And here's an interesting putt. You know, this is going to kind of either keep Ricky perfect or send him back just a little bit. Unbelievable. And, you know, that's not surprising, Nate, because his putter has been, you know, just what you would expect from Ricky Wysocki so far today.
Yeah, not at all. And especially after the post-round interview from yesterday, Ricky seemed like Ricky of a couple of years back. He seems so locked in, and his game, the scores are showing it. So that was a big, for me as a competitor, if I was in this group right now, I would be looking at that going, oh boy,
yeah,
you know, here we go. This guy maybe outside the circle, maybe we're going to see a miss. No, not at all, in the heart. So yeah, big putt there for Ricky, and you know, keeps the perfect round, I guess, alive.
Yeah, absolutely. The hot round on the final round of the Memorial, coming in a tie for 4th, and carrying it over here into Waco as we move on to hole 13. Let's get a hole preview and see what's coming up next as we transition out of the woods and into the park setting.
Yeah, we come out of the woods and into the fog. It was a little foggy the other day, and here we are, hole 13, 555 feet. In a normal condition, this would be a birdie hole for these guys. They have to negotiate these early trees. And what they're trying to do is get down into the fairway on the left side where it really opens up the sidearm attack into this green. OB on the right and left. Really, the OB on the right is one that becomes an issue if they get into a couple of Mando trees on that side. But ultimately, these guys are looking for a birdie. We've seen the winds calm down here in this afternoon. We saw this morning with the ladies, the wind just whipping as they came out of the woods, and it was really tough for them to make the adjustment. But right now the flags are just a little bit of whip to them. So boy, perfect round coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully these guys can transition a little better, because we've seen it both days where the FPO card is coming out of the woods, and like you said, they struggled. The wind has picked up. We saw Uli there. He pinned it. He looks like he's going to card his birdie, and we're really happy to be able to cover both the lead and the chase cards here, Nate. And the footage here from our cameraman is really high quality as we see Macbeth. I believe this is his drive. He might have piped one all the way down to here, and he does not have that far for an upshot.
He's, what do we say, Jeff? Nestle quick. He's just trying to nestle it up by that basket, and he's done so. This right now, folks, I'll tell you right now, if you're just joining us, Jeff Spring, Nate Doss here, this is the perfect storm, if you will. These guys have gotten through the woods with insane rounds, and Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki. I mean, we could be seeing something special from these two today.
Yeah, these guys are already 12 and 11 down, and they've got enough time left out there, enough holes to play to challenge the 15 down course record held by 3 players, including 2 of our players on the lead card, Big Germ Coling and Nate Perkins. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out down the stretch, and it's really setting the table for an exciting day tomorrow with 2-time world champ Ricky Wysocki trying to hang on to the lead here, and 4-time world champ Paul Macbeth right on his heels, throwing some incredible golf. Speaking of incredible golf, 8 down through 12, Emerson Keith lining up his birdie putt as we cut back to the tee and Ricky Wysocki.
Sit.
And it does just that. Really big hyzer there, moving significantly right to left.
I mean, I said it in the opening. You want to be out to that left because it brings in that nice sidearm play. So, yeah, it's definitely the play.
Wow, and that's not what Emerson wanted. A little bit of an air ball, and you can see the wind picking up now. It was dead when we cut out, but that just held up there. And Big Germ, yeah, it's moving.
Well, big gust. Yeah, that was a big gust as Jeremy threw. And he had a poor drive on this hole yesterday as well. And we're seeing a little bit of gustiness right now, is what I would say.
I love this this camera angle. Really getting the emotions of the players is you see the focus on Nate Perkins' face. That's high. The wind has risen it up. But it's clean, and that's a great drive from Nate.
Yeah, so it really, we'll see. These players are all now used to this headwind as they did play yesterday in this same condition. So the players should know what to expect.
Thank you.
And one thing it's tough from that angle to tell, as soon as they get around that first tree, it's pretty much wide open down to that lower area.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of just throwing and hoping, but there is a significant gap there that our players are hitting. And we're going to throw it to a brief 30-second break here as our players walk up to their discs here at the 13th hole. Tapping in for his birdie. And we saw Macbeth nestle his up.
I need to move again when he's done putting.
And take care of his 3 as well. So Uli and Macbeth, the 2 Pauls, both playing well. We haven't talked a lot about Uli today, but he's got a solid 8 down going. After a 12 down yesterday, he's still in it.
Oh, he's definitely still in it. I mean, at this point, well, I don't know. In it, Ricky Wysocki is going to decide who's in it or not at this point. He's playing that well. But no, there's a lot of people that are still in it. And we don't even really know who's going to be the card tomorrow, to be totally honest with you. We know this guy will be on it for sure. And probably Macbeth, but there's a lot of other guys that are going to be right there for that opportunity.
Yeah, and the chase for the lead card continues. You want to be there because the tone and the tenor of the round changes when it's the final day. And you don't know if Ricky's going to be able to come out and play as hot. As we see a little bit of a mistake, he went high there. He got knocked down early. He's going to have another test of his putter on whether or not he's going to be able to keep his perfect round going. Because, as we mentioned, he's 12 down through 12. On a march towards a new course record, potentially. As you see, Big Germ. Oh, it looked good, but it got deflected. Did it sit down, or is that over the...
No, it stayed short of it. That was a terrible throw. I mean, now, honestly, Big Germ could have stood there and flipped his wrist and got it out there. So, big mistake by Jeremy, and that's what I'm trying to say. We just don't know who's going to be in this card tomorrow. I mean, I think we're going to see 6 world championships in it, but I mean, who's going to be the other 2 guys? This is where we're going to find out where moving day really all comes down to. The hard work's been done. Let's play these holes, and let's play these holes well.
Yeah, and I really like that play we just saw from Dollar, using a very stable disc in this wind, not leaving anything to chance, pushing it out wide and coming back in. Let's see if Nate Perkins can do something similar.
I mean, it's the flick of a wrist, Jeff. That's all it is. I mean, for Big Germ to be so proficient with a sidearm and to hit a tree, it's tough. I mean, he got lucky to not go OB.
Yeah. That is tough, especially because he was 5 down through his last 5 holes, and he's going to be losing this birdie on this hole with that tree knock. He's 6 down on the day, well behind his pace from yesterday where he went 15 down. And here he is. He's going to have an approach into a headwind. Doesn't want to leave himself much to work with, and he really shouldn't. This is just a standard approach for a pro. It's high.
And is it good?
Oh, gave it a run.
Wow.
Love to see the opportunity to get that throw in, but
look. I mean, just everybody at home. Oh, let's watch this first. This is a big putt.
This is a long putt.
Yeah. This is double circle. This is the second circle's edge.
This is Raptor range.
Yeah, we can see Raptor legs.
Not today, as Ricky buzzes it by that left side. Tough putt in a cross headwind, and he's going to fall off the perfect pace, stay at 12 down if he can clean that up for par. As we, unsurprisingly, see our group struggle here.
You know, it's so weird to see the way that this hole plays. I think on paper it should be a pretty easy birdie, but it doesn't end up being that. So, interestingly enough, but I wanted everybody to see that Big Germ had that sort of stare on his face. I mean, he knew, he was frustrated about that misstep on his second shot, but he's still focused in there. I mean, if he was, just a few strokes further ahead, I mean, he'd still be a big factor in this tournament.
Yeah, and the crowd appreciates Ricky's par putt, but he is frustrated. He picked up his mini in anger. And it's I say unsurprising that this group's struggling because every single round that we've been commentating on, we've seen them struggle on this hole. It may not just be the wind; it could be a mental break because people are dialed in these woods, knowing that they're going to get into rough. Now that rough is gone; they don't have that pitch out, and they're just losing focus here on this 13th hole. Let's get a whole preview because the same thing's happening here. I'm going to go ahead and say we're not going to see more than 2 birdies on hole 14, Nate.
Oh, no way. I want to see 4 at least. Maybe we'll get somebody in the crowd to get one, get 5 of them. But here we are, 303. It's a sidearm hole all the way, folks. And they're just playing to the left of that big tree right there, coming into our green that is slightly sloped from right to left, making it just perfect for a sidearm. The hillside slowing the disc down. We see Paul McBeth just short on this hole. I mean, 303 feet. It is our longest par 3.
That's true, but this isn't long for our pros, and we see many of. Oh yeah, Paul.
Boom! I'm giving that the fist pump. That was a clean putt.
That was a perfect putt, right in the heart, dying right into the basket. But as I was saying, 303 feet nowadays, this is not a long par 3 for our competitors.
No, but when you look at the list, it's the longest par 3 on this course, and I was leading into that. And we see Paul Ulibarri here for birdie as well. But I was leading into trying to figure out, nice putt there by Uli, try to figure out why our competitors are having so much trouble coming out of those woods. And I think what it is when we went into the woods on 4 and we came out on 13, these players never had to throw a shot over 300 feet. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, rip a drive 450. So maybe that's what it is. It really could be that it's just a little bit of an adjustment period. And I know how hard that is. You're like, oh, I'm getting out into the open. I just want a birdie. So interesting.
This card seems to have made short work of this par 3.
Well, long putts, but short work as far as score.
Great putts here. And Emerson Keith, the only one without a birdie, tapping in for his 3. That was 3 of 4. I'm going to stick to my prediction. I still don't think we're going to see more than 2 birdies from this lead card. As the chase card moves on to hole 16, and Paul McBeth and Ricky are both now 1 off a perfect. Here's the scores. Let's check them out. Paul's moved.
Seppo finishing with that eagle, by the way. We didn't even call that out.
I didn't even see it. Unbelievable. Seppo with the eagle, tying the course record now, a 4-way tie for 15 down. And he's put himself in the conversation. He's 21 down, and it really depends on how Ricky finishes on whether or not he's going to have a chance tomorrow. And Nate has turned this over too much. He's hit. He's OB. He's back in.
Same little branch, too.
I think he's in bounds.
He is in bounds, and you can see his disc right there in bounds. He got it a little bit elevated into the headwind. I mean, he's throwing something over stable, but that breeze is just enough. And then he hit a little twizzle branch that kicked him down to the left. But fortunately for Nate, he is in bounds.
No curbs on those sidewalks. Oh, yeah. Dollar throwing the overhand shot. Looks like he's in between circle 1 and 2. That's going to be a tough putt into the headwind. Let's see if Ricky can put something in the circle here. He's seen the wind read.
Just the way we talked about it in the whole preview, just keeping it low underneath the wind. We saw Jeremy throw a really bad drive on this one yesterday, and so it'll be interesting to see how he can change that from yesterday.
He's going low, too.
Oh, God.
He just had turn, whereas Ricky had a more stable disc, and it didn't turn down into the ground. I thought that was a big throw. Germ's looking at his hand in wonderment. Not sure what happened there. He knows he just didn't put the right type of move on the disc. And it's got to be frustrating. 2 sidearm approaches, 1 on the tee, 1 on the approach last hole, where he really shouldn't be making these mistakes. He wants to get back into this as a 2-time defending champ, but it's not going to happen with shots like this. Let's see if he can make easy work of the up and in and just move on and try to finish strong.
I mean, I can't say how many times we've said that already today. I mean, and I'm not even, I mean, you're the 2-time defending champ. That was a turnover that he threw, and it cut rolled to where he's landed. So, yeah, the nerves and the blood pressure and good shot there by Jeremy. He needed that, but I think and maybe he can thank that guy right there in the red shorts for just putting the pressure on not only the defending champ, but everybody on the entire course. So Paul Macbeth seemingly the only guy that's like, well, hold on, Ricky, I'm still right there.
Yeah. As we see support crew for Nate Perkins, Team Discmania manager Jeff Corns, who's been on the bag or at least helping Nate throughout the broadcast.
Well, no, so Paige and Nate are swapping caddies.
Swapping caddies, yeah.
You know, they're caddying for each other, which I again just goes to show you the family aspect of it all.
Yeah. And Nate eyeing this up like he wants to give it a run.
Well, he wanted to give it a run.
He did. But into the headwind, he wanted to keep it low, too. I'm sure he didn't want to put himself in a position where he might have a challenging comeback. Here's Dollar.
Quickly stepping up.
Quickly
and just
playing.
Putting it up underneath. So really, we're going to see Ricky with the only birdie opportunity. But, yeah, big thanks to Jeff Corns. Jeff's been doing the U-Disc Live for our lead cards, actually all the way back to the Memorial. So big thanks to him for hanging out and being a part of the support crew of the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
And Ricky back on track with a birdie after his only second par on 13. He's got to be feeling good to eliminate that mistake on the last hole from his mind, as we see Germ cleaning up for par and our other 2 competitors cleaning up for their pars. There was only 1 birdie on this hole, unsurprisingly to me, as we transition over to the 15th hole, where I think we may see somebody try to get an eagle. Very eagleable hole. But let's take a look at the whole preview as our competitors finish out on the 15th hole for hole 16.
And here we are on hole 16, 585 feet. 16. Yeah, okay, we are right here. But yeah, we see that gated area. Yesterday we saw our players just getting over this low area because of that headwind. And really the big thing is here, it's OB right and left down the entire fairway. The players are going to try to get into this area-ish. And then it's if you want to go backhand or sidearm entering into this green, with a tailwind, this hole is pretty gettable. But with this headwind, it definitely becomes a hole that our players are going to be having to handle just a little bit of tough conditions. And we just see, I believe that's the chase card up in the fairway.
Yeah, the chase card's there. We got a little bit of a backup, and a quick apology to the viewers at home. I misspoke. This is hole 15.
No, yeah, this is 15.
Yeah, and I apologize to you as well, Nate, because I threw you off there. But we've got 4 holes to go in the chase card here on the fairway. We saw some really interesting action here. You know, these open holes, we think, you know, we know what's going to happen, but it's been such an interesting close to the course into these rounds because there's been fireworks, FPO, MPO, and it's all about whether or not you're going to keep the disc in bounds. If you get aggressive, we've seen a lot of the backhand shots turn over. I can't even count how many shots we've watched sail over the fence on the right. What's been more effective is just playing the hyzer out over the road, spiking it in. This overall distance isn't too hard. And let's listen in here. We've got Paul Macbeth and the Jomez crew who are filming post-production on MPO2 here today.
Yeah, we've just blundered a lot of those numbers in the last minute, and I can tell you why. It's because we're playing the beast, Brazos East. These guys have. This is a lot of work out here, even though they're making a lot of birdies. This is a big course and a lot of entertaining action going on. So, yeah, we do apologize, of course, about that. But yeah, it just goes to show you how intense all this is.
Yeah, and Paul Ulibarri putting his birdie in, and he just is playing very solid today. You know, he's moved into sole possession of third place after Big Germ failed to birdie. He's on a 4 birdie streak, and he's 10 down through 15 holes. Nothing to scoff at, even though we've seen unbelievable performances from Ricky and Paul today, and Seppo tying that course record. James isn't playing too shabby himself. He's hanging in there. He's in a tie for 11th. 8 down, only 1 blunder. It was a double bogey on the 4th hole. James moving to 9 under par on the day, and the crowd loves it.
Yeah, Paul just clearing those chains. This is an important putt, and at this point, with the scores these guys are putting up, every putt is important. They're 1 eagle away from being back on perfect.
No problem there for our second place competitor, Paul Macbeth. The wind seems to have settled down a little bit. That flag just gusting a little bit. And Emerson Keith falling a little bit off of his pace as he's tapped in and fallen back just a little bit. That was a 3 for Emerson, though. Tied for 6 with Nate Perkins. We're going to head back to our lead card with Nate a part of it. But first on the tee, our leader of the event by 3 strokes, Ricky Wysocki. He's playing that hyzer, Nate.
Yeah, we talked about this a bunch yesterday, Jeff, and the wind is, and of course, we talked about gustiness. And it's like in the middle of kind of, we would call this sets out in the coast of California. You got waves coming in of bigger waves, smaller waves. We seem to be in a little lull of wind right now, and players taking advantage of it. But, you know, it's one of those things on this type of hole. You know, we talked about Garrett Gerthy, and boy, Dollar just stepping up and going.
He's a fast player, and he's gotten a nice roll. He's right in the same zone.
Yeah, but you know, we talked about it yesterday, or last year, Garrett Gerthy, you know, getting eagles on this hole, but of course it was tailwinds last year, and these guys know just put it in the middle, put it up there, get your birdie, and move on, because there's only anything but loss on this one. There's nothing to gain by trying to do anything going bigger than that, and all 4 of our competitors in this lead card, for the first time in quite a while, have done a good job in really getting off of the tee all in good position.
Absolutely. And Ricky looking to match Paul Macbeth at 14 down after this. He needs a good upshot and a putt to do so. Paul McBeth, gotta keep noting, as he marches towards a course record, he is 14 down with 3 to play. He needs 2 birdies coming in, and we've seen it through the first 2 rounds. Hole 17, that is the one that is a big swing hole. You can get in a lot of trouble. You might see a bogey there. There's a lot of OB. It's all about positioning. So we're marching towards that for our lead 2 groups that we've been following all day. And here's Matt Dollar. He's played the thumber, and it looks like he's gonna line another thumber up here.
Yeah, if we just break down these last 4 holes, I would say 15's a birdie hole for sure. 16's a birdie hole for sure. 17's like, yeah, birdie's awesome, but par's not so bad. And then 18 in eagleable range, as we saw Seppo already eagle it. So, yeah, big opportunities to continue to go low here.
Here's Nate, and he's fallen off of his own pace a little bit. He's 7 down of the day after shooting a 13 yesterday. But still in range for double digits, still in range for that 10, and really, he really needs to get there. And this is not going to help. He's now taking himself out of birdie contention. He's got a big par putt coming up. You can see the frustration.
Yeah, definitely the frustration. That's where, you know, hitting a thicker grass patch or hitting on the hard pan can affect. And he hit on the hard pan, and it just, you know, took him OB.
That's pretty interesting that he went backhand there. We see Germ going forehand, and ooh.
Kind of what Germ needed, I mean, at this point. And we've really been tough on Germ, and the only reason we've done that is because he's the 2-time defending champion of this tournament. But he's still in 4th place. At this point, still on the lead card for tomorrow.
And Rick being a little casual with his upshot. He's gonna have a putt, and we can see that flag starting to flap a little more. You talk about the gusts. It'll be interesting to see how gusty it is when he steps up. He's been automatic from that range, but let's see if he can continue it. You know, it's not typically an automatic distance unless you're Ricky Wysocki and you're on a hot streak.
So one thing we got to talk about playing the 18th hole right now is Simon Lizotte, who has literally just come up from nowhere. We haven't seen his name at all lately, but boom, there he is, tied for 4th with a birdie putt, I believe, on 18. So I don't know, it'll be interesting, or let's see what he's got on 18. But if he eagles, boom, he moves to 23 under, and we could see him on our card tomorrow. So great to see Simon Lizotte, who had just a disaster last year with getting stuck in traffic, missing the second round tournament over before he even got going, really. So great to see Simon Lizotte's name right there. 8 for par. Yeah, he's frustrated. He's going to have a longer putt for a bogey almost.
Yeah, and you could tell he was frustrated before he even got up to his putt. You know, not really able to maybe zone in the way he wanted to. And here's Rick. This is a big putt. He looks comfortable. Oh, and in and out, lipping out, little toilet bowl effect out the backside. Can't take those for granted, and that is a little bit shocking as the scores tighten a little bit more at the top with that miss.
There you go, Nate. That was a quiet body putt, and you know, he didn't have any movement. He just released it nice and smooth. 4 bogey, unfortunately, for Nate Perkins. He got a birdie. There we go.
Holla, holla, Matt Dalla in for his birdie. 2 thumbers and just a little putt.
Yeah, and Big Germ doing the same. And Big Germ, you know, this is going to put him in a tie for 3rd now. So, you know, I said it just 10 minutes ago. Ricky's going to be the one who decides who's in this tournament or not.
And with that miss inside the circle, his first miss of the day inside the circle, he's starting to crack that door. Starting to let the other competitors maybe have a little light and maybe himself tighten up a little. You know, we're going to head to the real hole 16 this time, Nate. And what do we got in front of us with this whole preview?
Yes, you're right. And it is the real hole 16 here, 585 feet. really wide open completely until you get within about 110, 120 feet of the basket. The first tree that comes into play is that one just on the right of the screen there. If the players can get over here into this left-hand zone, they have a beautiful little backhander, little sidearm around this big tree here. Birdie opportunities all over the boards for these guys on this hole. And again, with tailwinds on this hole, we can see eagle opportunities. But today our players just going to be looking to get up there for birdies.
And it seems every time we cut to the chase card, we see a Paul putting from birdie from just around the circle. Let's see if Ulibarri, with a slight headwind, can make this putt from right on the circle's edge. Oh, he started walking it in. It hit the lip, hit the chains, and then out. You hate it when that happens. It's painful. But with this elevated basket, just not quite enough pep on the putt for Ulibarri. And a great putt from Conrad. Man, what form. He's just crouched down, uses his body so effectively. And here's Macbeth looking really comfortable, stepping up for his birdie putt to really come within one more stroke of Ricky Wysocki. This is to make it a 2-stroke lead for Wysocki. No problems there for Macbeth.
Yeah, boy, I think we're a lot more nervous than he is. There was no nerves at all there for Paul. And as you said, just continuing to just drive forward and really continue to make this a tournament. So that's awesome. Obviously, we saw Yuli's putt just barely kick out, and it'll be interesting. I still want to see what happens to Simon Lizotte on this 18th hole. That he's actually only like 80 to 100 feet from where these players are, just across the road there, playing his 18th hole.
Yeah, and Matt Dollar played real quickly here on the lead card. And Germ, again, low and turning over, not really adjusting to the wind here, not getting the full flight. It's going to be a tricky upshot, and he needs this birdie. Our leader. Not getting the disc to flip up as much as he wanted to, but having a long flight, a powerful shot. We don't see it finish. There it is. Really challenging that left side.
Yeah, big time. I mean, we saw Germ turn his over, Ricky not get enough on it. See what Perkins has got for us. That's the line that our players want. Nice shot there by Nate Perkins.
And we're off, and we're going to take a quick 30-second break here, and we'll be right back to the action here as we close out round 2 at the Waco Annual Charity Open. Hole 16 with our lead card. We see Ricky walking up, and there's the leaderboard. We see Wysocki's opened up a 5-stroke gap on his leader card competitors, but we know Paul Macbeth is waiting in the wings. 15 down with 2 to go. He's tied the course record. Can he hang on? As we'll bring you both chase and lead card footage, and it's down to a 1-stroke lead, Nate.
Yeah, we do see the board there, and I want everybody to know at home that for some reason, hole 1 for our lead card has come off UDisc. So those scores are incorrect. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, Ricky is at 27, Paul's at 25. But yeah, we were just talking about it in break. We're excited to see what Simon's got for us on 18. But we're also just, Germ has been right there. A couple just shots that he should make, and he would be so much closer. I mean, the guy's still in third place.
Yeah, and it started on the first hole, and he was never able to shake just kind of the odd mistakes that he's not used to making. He hasn't had any big issues. He hasn't had any bogeys, as we see our leader there. Ricky Wysocki just absolutely parked this hole. No problems for Rick. And our two leaders really look comfortable, Paul and Ricky. But coming back to Germ, you know, we're all pulling for him to be in the mix here. And he's not that far away, but he just needs to put it together. Same with this guy, Nate Perkins, with a mistake on the last hole, a good drive here. He wants to put it right next to the pin. And he does. So that should be no problem for Nate. Getting back on track after his only bogey of the entire event.
Yeah, and probably in a couple of years. You know, I mean, these guys have been playing back good. Dollar playing that just fine for him. Yeah, he's appreciative of it, and yeah, but you know that. I mean, again, we were talking about it in break. Talked about a lot in that 30-second break, but yeah, boy, that was just huge for Perkins. Unable to throw his sidearm, the tree got in his way. Had to go with a backhand, skipping OB, missing the putt. Boy, it was just like so quickly. How quickly it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, for you viewers at home, we do have a couple issues with hole 1 for this lead card. Now we're seeing a hole 1 being put in as a 5 for Nate Perkins, which is incorrect. You know, and here's Germ's putt. A little sloppy approach. He's taking his time on this one. You know, I think he knows he needs to make this. Oh, and he gave it a great bid right at basket height, but it hyzers out early, and he's going to be left with a little bit of cleanup for his par. We see Nate coming in and wanting to grab this birdie, and I think, you know, Germ's just thinking back maybe on some missed opportunities today. There it is for Nate.
Yeah, that's a nice birdie there by Nate coming back, and that's the best he could do. You know, follow up a bogey with a birdie. And we have some scores just still bouncing around on UDisc. It's so funny to see that happening. But there you go, Germ making his par putt. But yeah, just loose golf today by him. And you know, the one thing is we might be set up to see something really great from Big Germ tomorrow, because this could really just break all the pressure.
Yeah, and we're moving into these last two holes, which we've talked about all day, all event, as two of the most important holes. We've seen big swings happen year after year here at Waco. So let's get to the whole preview for hole 17 as we try to clean up UDisc and get those scores right. What do we have coming on hole 17? Well,
I think one of the best designed holes here on this beast course, hole number 17, 610 feet. And we will see our players throwing sidearms typically off this tee, trying to get into a landing zone right about here, giving themselves a view at the basket as we'll see it come in out on this peninsula, OB right and OB left. Really just a beautifully designed hole as far as this course is concerned. So definitely interested to see, but boy, we're just excited to see what's going to happen and see how it all comes together as we go into tomorrow's round. I'm psyched.
It's always a treat to see the big names up at the top, and none bigger than Big Germ, Ricky Wysocki, Paul McBeth here at the top. And Ricky Wysocki is now 28 under par, and he's looking for, potentially a record-breaking round, trying to chase down McBeth after a 15 down. With this pace, going into the final round, how can he sustain this kind of great golf? It's kind of mind-blowing for me.
Well, and if we think back for our fans at home just to the final round of the last Disc Golf Pro Tour, where Ricky and Paul were playing together in a final round, and they went back and forth. We just see
James Conrad.
There you go, James Conrad, who got caught up early and having to just pitch out and around the corner. But we saw those two going at it. Now UDisc is getting updated now, but we saw those guys just going at it just 2 weeks ago. So it'll be really interesting to see how tomorrow plays out and the storyline that comes together and the one that we tell, and the one that the players tell. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see, Rick miss those opportunities at 13 and 15, not kind of indicative of his play today. And it's funny to say that because we expect a birdie almost on every hole. When coming out of those woods, as we said, a big change. And coming here to 17, one of the signature holes of the course, we see Emerson Keith lining up, but what we're really waiting for is to see where Paul McBeth lies and if he's got a clean upshot onto one of the most dangerous greens on this entire course. So as we wait for that, back on the tee, we've got Matt Dollar here just taking a break. And, even though he's struggled, very respectable 7 down so far.
Yeah, I think respectable is a good word for it, for sure. And, again, when you have a player like Ricky doing what he's doing in your group, you're doing everything you can to just not let it get to you. Let's put it that way. I mean, I've played in a lot of these rounds. I've been the guy that's been doing what Ricky's doing, and he's not looking back. That's for sure. I've also been the guy that's been there to watch it from close up. So yeah, it's definitely exciting and respectable for Matt. I mean, he wants to play better. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and very interesting battle here on the chase card between Ulibarri and Keith. Paul with a beautiful looking shot right inside the circle. That's exactly what you want to do. He's going to have a birdie putt, and he's looking like he's got some nice energy going as we see Paul McBeth.
I mean, that's a perfect drive. Look at where he threw. We're not going to see any of our players in this position.
He's made this more of a pitch than a throw in. And he's looking out over the water, though. It looks like he's going to throw it right into the swamp, although I think he's going to trust his disc to hyzer back in here.
Well, we'll see. We did talk about when the players get this far down the fairway, it does bring the water a lot more into play. They have to be a lot more bold.
And that looks like it's plenty safe on the inside, and it is. Landing about pin high, about circle's edge. He's going to set himself up for a birdie putt. So we've got Emerson Keith, Paul Ulibarri, and Paul McBeth looking at birdies. And the battle is on to make that lead card tomorrow. Tied for 5th is Emerson Keith. Seppo is tied with him. Simon is tied with him. Simon ended up with a 4 on the last hole there, Nate. And since Seppo and Simon are done, really it's only down to Emerson and Paul Ulibarri to make that lead card. They're sitting at 21 and 22 down respectively. And Big Germ's a little bit in that battle too, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. At this point, those two guys are done. Big Germ's got 2 holes left. He could get a couple of birdies, possibly an eagle on 18.
It's like Vegas with bunker rules.
Yeah.
James Conrad shot up.
Yeah, but then you have to count on the spotter knowing.
And chase card's officially now walking up to the green.
That's right.
Conrad not in a terrible position, at tied for 8th. But yeah, I mean, Big Germ I think was down 4 after the front 9 of last year's final round. So there is plenty of golf to be played. As we watch this chase card walk up and line up their birdie putts here. Let's throw it back to the tee and listen into what these competitors are thinking about heading on to the final hole, Nate.
Where do you think they're at to stop us?
I mean, they're nowhere where I'm from.
I think they're listening to us talk about thumbers and stuff.
I feel like you're good, right?
Yeah, I think it's just me.
Okay.
Get off here. Get out of here.
As I said, we've seen these 3 guys right here
Yeah.
chatting it up. You don't see a lot of Ricky. Ricky is, I've known Ricky for a long time, but he likes to do his own thing, just stay out of the way. And me personally, I always like to find somebody in the crowd or somebody that was just walking along and talk about something different, instead of really conversing with my competitors. But no, these guys are nice and relaxed and having a good old time. And here's Emerson again in the battle for the lead card.
What a putt.
Beautiful putt. Chasing it in. I'll give that a little mini fist pump.
Mini fist pump here with Emerson Keith tying momentarily Paul Ulibarri and Jeremy Colling for 3rd at 22 under par. Man, what a performance from a relatively unknown competitor, but he's been showing up. Let's see if we can match.
Better angles than Gomez.
Oh yeah.
Not me, but Joey. I'm talking to Joey. So if I heard right, they're gonna throw over the tree. Am I correct? I'm asking. Okay, I'll stay where I am.
No, this is the teleport.
No, guys, that was a story about how last year Ricky went over the trees.
Get out of here. Undefeated. Yeah.
It's nice plastic though. You want to take that off?
Makes it fly better, bro.
Yeah. Factory stickers.
Yeah, I think I might throw it. I don't know. What Lynn's doing.
Or if we play in the daylight.
I guess it's just waiting for them to walk back.
I'm walking all the way back.
We lost audio there for a second, but
Booyah.
we will marveling at the round Paul Macbeth has played and just taking it all in here. A special day at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs, as we see Matt Dollar leading off our card here.
Yeah, Matt's played the best of these guys over the last few holes, you know, birdieing the last two that we played, that double thumber birdie he had on 15. But back to Paul Macbeth, I cannot say it enough at this point. This is a guy who has shot 18 down before.
Wow. And as we talk
That
about
needs
Paul,
to sit.
we see Ricky, and it's green. Unbelievable. That is the distance that's going to get you a clean look. Maybe not the best angle, but I think Ricky's going to like it. Ginormous skip there as we watch Nate throw the forehand. He's staring it down. And that's a different position. That's the inside route as we cut over to Paul Macbeth. This is a huge moment, folks. Could he go 18 down? He's trying to clear the water. 492 feet. This is a par 4. If he eagles it, it will be an 18 down round.
Shot of the tournament up to this point.
He's on hyzer.
Too much? That's the big question. Is it too much hyzer?
He skips in.
No way, dude. It's parked.
And he parks it next to the basket.
Big fist bump.
Unbelievable.
High five.
We're high-fiving and fist bumping. He's getting hand pounds, fist bumps, hugs from his competitors. Everybody knows this is a special moment. We've been waiting with bated breath the last 5 holes to see if he could make this happen. And it looks like we're only moments away from him tapping in an eagle putt and putting together an 18 under round, a perfect round, matching what he did on the Disc Golf Pro Tour at D-Glow last year. Unbelievable.
Well, as I was saying, this is a guy who's done it before. So standing on this tee, as we see Emerson throwing, but standing on this tee, he's done it before. It's something that he knows is possible, and that right there is the big advantage for a guy like Paul Macbeth.
And he looked absolutely excited and comfortable to rip that 500-foot shot over the water. Really unbelievable play. A special day here. We thought it was going to be Ricky for a while. It turns out to be Paul making a charge up the leaderboard. Now sitting at 26 under par, 16 under for the day, and looking to go 18 under. Wow.
Why'd you razz Yuli?
He can't hear me. Although it did seem like that. I caught myself for a minute. But
just kidding. Of
nothing
course.
to scoff at. He is 11 down, looking to go 13 down. And he's sitting in solo third at 23 under par, looking to be in the mix tomorrow.
Well, and again, I'm going to be the voice of reason. You know, I'm a pro. I've played this game a long time, and you got to be calm, cool, and collected. Oh, what a beautiful shot by Paul as well. This tournament's not over. I mean, this tournament is not over. But the one thing that has to be said, staying cool and calm here, is that even though Paul has done what he's done, Ricky's still the leader of this tournament. You know, and as soon as James is done throwing, we'll get back over to our boys in the lead card. But, you know, big ups to Paul McBeth for sticking with Ricky, who's looked untouchable.
And you gotta wonder if news of this 18 down round is trickling back to the card right behind them.
For sure.
They've got to know at this point. They're not even playing. They're watching. The lead card is watching the chase card as they throw across, noting that this is a momentous moment. This has not been done in disc golf very many times. Only one other time by this guy right here. Unbelievable day at the Waco Annual Charity Open. Big shout out to Ryan Draper and his crew for setting up this beautiful scene. Big shout out to Dynamic Discs as we watch our chase card head over to try to round that out. And let's take a look at this leaderboard. 28 down for Wysocki. We believe Paul McBeth will be at 28 down in moments, carding an 18 down round. And will this affect Wysocki as he comes in?
Well, we were just hearing in our ear from our producer that, and we'll go over to these guys, they were actually just standing, this where they're standing is, and you can just see it right there on the left, they're elevated above that tee. I mean, they saw it all. And so it's definitely going to affect
He's
them.
50 feet away, and he's got a big approach and a big hole to play. Could it be that it's going to be a lot tighter than we thought going into tomorrow with Germ throwing a good upshot? He's just outside circle one. He's on the fat side of the green, looking to card a birdie here at the important hole 17. Let's throw it over to Nate Perkins.
When Jeff, I've been in so many rounds with Paul McBeth and Ricky and really a lot of these players, but with Paul specifically right now, I mean, we're just looking at the U-disc. And we don't know how he got that 3 on hole 11, but if you just look across the board, I mean, it's impressive. And sometimes I just don't know how he does it. He's got ice in his veins, you know, and when he gets going, he's going. And here's Ricky.
Got to set.
Playing it to the soft side, outside the circle. So, well, what we're looking at is Paul tapping in, tying him for 28. Ricky now might par this, and we'll see what happens. But again, how does Paul McBeth do it? If I knew, I'd be a lot better than I was.
This is coming from a 3-time world champ, kind of marveling at what we're seeing here today. And that lets you know it's a really special round that these competitors are putting together. We don't want to leave Ricky out. I mean, he's 14 down. He could be 15 down and setting what would have been a course record here at the Beast, Brazos Park East here at Waco. Dollar throwing another thumber over the top. It's been so fun watching him throw these thumbers, and just a different mix. And I think we're going to head over to see the chase card finish their rounds, including maybe a putt for an 18 down perfect round from Paul McBeth. And here we go. Emerson Keith. Big putt for Emerson. He's 22 down.
Yeah, depending
He's
on
11 down on the round. We already know Woolies Park, but depending on Germ's play, this could be to be on the lead card tomorrow.
17.
Some really big names.
Yeah, and our Texas representation here, Emerson Keith, along with Nate Perkins, of course.
Yes.
Off the top.
Yeah.
But boy, I mean, the guys at the tee felt like it was already a given. And you can see all the cameras clamoring to get this. Everybody wants this on the top 10.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, he was on the top 10 for it before.
Yeah, with the longest Sports Center clip in disc golf history, over 2 minutes, highlighting Paul McBeth's round at the Discraft Great Lakes Open last year. Will we get a similar clip out of this? Here's James Conrad as we get closer to this moment of Paul getting a putt to go 18 down. You can see him there in the background. He looks calm, cool, collected as James lines up his putt.
just a little bit of high putt there. You know, it's funny. I mean, this is almost like they're going to let Paul putt. You know, everybody else is going to putt out and let Paul putt out last. You know, this is like winning a tournament. You know, and I wasn't there in Michigan when it happened the first time, but it's a strange feeling. I can only imagine being a player in this group right now.
Yeah.
So good on these guys for playing these great rounds too. It really means a lot.
I mean, and James at 10 down, and I believe this is a birdie putt to go 11 down. Great round. You know, we were talking about just getting to double digits last round being special and putting you in the mix. 11 down for James, and Emerson's going to clean up here with a birdie as well, hopefully. And look at how close Macbeth is. Unbelievable. He's the pink disc right there. Nothing to scoff at from Emerson Keith with a birdie on the last hole, throwing 12 down. Paul Ulibarri to match his 12. Well, no, this is an eagle. 13 down from Ulibarri. And there it is, folks. We see it. The crowd's going wild. Macbeth with the tongue out like Jordan with the 18 down round. A truly historic moment here at the Disc Golf Pro Tour, only done once before by the man himself, Paul Macbeth.
Wow. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing, the feeling of watching something like that. And thank goodness we have second card coverage for this. And you know, we have cameras to catch this live. How cool. So congratulations to Paul Macbeth, a guy that needs no congratulations over the years for all of his successes. But now the story is what happens tomorrow.
Well, we still have one hole to play. So, you know, we want to mention a little bit about what the lead card did. Very unique situation here in our live coverage. We're going to just report on what happened. Ricky missed his putt. So they are now tied atop the leaderboard with one to play for our leader all day, Ricky Wysocki, who's thrown a 14 under round thus far. And really, this is a story. Ricky and Paul at this point are the story. Paul kind of charging there at the end. Well, the entire day to throw this 18 under round, but Ricky losing a couple strokes. Here he is on the tee. You know, if Paul's was the biggest shot of the event so far, this has got to be the second biggest for the momentum going into round 3.
I don't think there's any doubt how important this shot is for Ricky Wysocki. Needs to sit.
And he's done it. It's safe. It's on the circle's edge. He's not thrilled, but he does have an eagle putt.
Yeah, and now the biggest shot will be that putt. I mean, this is, you know, this is these guys getting ready for tomorrow. Yeah. You know, it's a big statement if Ricky can just say, well, yeah, he shot 18 down, but I cashed this eagle putt on the last hole. It gives you a lot for tomorrow. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, 16 down is nothing to scoff at. And as you said, time and time again, this lead that Ricky had established across the round, it was up to him whether or not anyone else was going to get back into it. And, you know, he's missed 3 putts now, 13, 15, and 17, to kind of open the door for this historic round to have a bigger and bigger and bigger impact on this event.
No doubt, Jerm bringing around the backside, needs to sit. I think he will be in bounds there, so that will be an eagle putt. But, yeah, you know, we saw both Matt Dollar and Nate Perkins laying up on this hole, and so they're sticking to their game plan. And you know, we didn't get a flyover on 18. I mean, I guess Macbeth showed us what we needed to do here. But, you know, it is 492 feet, and it's par 4. That's why we see those eagles, and that's why we see an 18 down. But it's OB over, you know, it's OB in the lake there, OB on that sidewalk, and so we see players laying up, see players going for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can look forward to tomorrow coming back to this 18th hole and most likely seeing the tournament decided on this hole. We're looking at Paul Macbeth at 28 under par, Ricky tied with him, most certainly going to be the leader by himself going into tomorrow with an eagle putt. Is it going to be 1 stroke? Is it going to be 2 strokes? We don't know, but we're so excited for the battle. You can't count out the other Paul. Holy, 25 under after a 13 down round, only 3 back of the lead right now. He's going to be in the mix tomorrow, Nate.
Yeah, Nate doing what he does. He lays up, he puts that sidearm into the circle. But yeah, you're right. You can't forget about him at all. And Eagle McMahon is right there. I mean, there's still so much that can happen. I think, this is a Tiger-filled type of situation. I mean, we want to see Rick and Paul go at it. But it's the job of Yuli and Emerson and Eagle and Jeremy and Seppo and Simon, and the list goes on to change the narrative.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Eagle. With an Eagle, by Eagle, on the 18th, he went to 12 under for the round, and he got himself smack dab into the conversation. A player that could match an 18 down type round tomorrow and be right in the mix, but he will not be on the lead card. And Big Germ, 2-time defending champ, is about to determine whether or not he's going to bump Emerson Keith. I think for the fans at home, the bigger name, the 2-time defending champ, maybe a lot of people rooting for Germ to make this putt or at least make his birdie and assure his spot on that lead card. First, our co-leader.
Huge putt, Jeff. Wow, look at the fist pump from Ricky. I swear, this seems like the end of the tournament, but that's how important it is for a guy by Ricky. That was huge.
That was the most important putt of Ricky's day, having missed a couple down the stretch. He's feeling good. 16 under, brand new course record. Oh, wait a second. 18
Almost.
But we've got 2 of the best disc golfers in the world and one of the best shows in disc golf history unfolding in front of us. Can our 2-time defending champ finish strong?
And I believe he would have to make this to make the lead card if it's based on best round. He would have to be in front of Emerson. And he would, because this would only be a 9 under for him. So I think he's got to make this to be in our lead card. He's trying to figure out footing here.
Not look comfy.
Yeah, not at all. The breeze.
Big putt for Big Germ.
Branches.
Great look at it. And just low. So he will tie Emerson Keith for 4th. We'll get an official call shortly for you on who will be on the lead card tomorrow. But they're going to be tied for 4th at 23 under par. As Nate Perkins, who was our co-leader, tries to finish out a solid round, but one that has seen him slip back. Wow. And he won't card the birdie. He will be in for his par, and he will be in at 7 under, falling back to a tie for 10th, 20 under par, if he can knock this in. And he gets it to go.
Yeah, just the pressure ratcheting up. And look at Germ there. I'm not surprised to see him standing there like that. He's frustrated, and Germ's, he's a sensitive guy, but he knows the situation. And there we go. The round is officially over, and
what a round it was.
Yeah, I can't say enough really about it.
Absolutely. And as the players walk off the green, we're left here to contemplate what we just saw, which was unbelievable disc golf action over the last couple of hours. Jeremy Colling in with the birdie, tied for Emerson Keith, but the story of the day is Paul McBeth, who we all watched here perform an unbelievable feat of a perfect 18 down round, 16 birdies, and an eagle. Nate, what is there to say about this performance?
Well, the only thing I can really say, Jeff, is that when we came out of the woods on hole 13, I did say, hey, we could be seeing a perfect storm type of situation here. And, us sitting in the booth here watching it, we knew that because the wind had died down, it wasn't gusting hard, that these guys were going to have birdie opportunities. And Paul came out and birdied and got that eagle that he needed. So, it says a lot about where Paul is. And I think to me, the big story right now is definitely that through these early tournaments, we've only really had 3 or 4 big tournaments so far. neither one of these guys have won. And we've seen some new names. We've seen a lot of great action, but neither one of these guys have won. So I still believe at this point that Ricky is really the guy that controls the destiny of this tournament with a 2-stroke lead. But Paul Macbeth with just an absolutely historic 18 under par, and I can't say enough. So congratulations to Paul, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I do believe Emerson will be in that final group, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and the Beast has given it to us.
Absolutely, and we're going to have disc golf action all day tomorrow live here in the Disc Golf Pro Tour studio. I'll be with Val Jenkins for the FPO call in the morning, back with you in the evening. Hey, we just want to take a moment to thank you guys for joining us for what was an incredible, historic day here at the Beast Course, Brazos Park East, all part of the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. Nate, any parting words for us?
I just say get out and play, and that's it for us. More 18 downs on the way, maybe.
Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys.